Chapter 1537. Yang Feng said in Lin Hua's arrogant tone, "Uncle Ling, I'm fine. Although that scoundrel Ling Juekong seriously injured me in the trial by fire and knocked me off a cliff. However, I had another fortuitous encounter after setting the mountain. After a while, I will recover my strength and even become stronger than before." "Young master, it's good that you're back. It's good that you're back. By the way, I heard that stinky brat Ling Juekong dared to attack you, so I invited Miss Mue to our mansion." The butler Ling Mu smiled kindly and clapped his hands. Under the guidance of the two maids, a beautiful girl with black hair, a height of about 1.73 meters, an oval face, and skin as white as jade walked over with a fragrance wafting from her. She had a pure and charming appearance. Yang Feng was speechless when he saw this scene. This is a kidnapping. If I were Ling Juekong, I would slap this Ling Mu to death. But he's my man now, so it's not good to do anything to him. Ling Mu was an Emperor realm expert. He watched Ling Hua grow up and treated him as his own son. He doted on him so much that he wouldn't give him anything he wanted. Over the years, who knows how many times he has cleaned up Lin Hua's mess. Face pale, Hua stared at Yang Feng and gritted her teeth, saying, "Lin Hua, if you use force on me, I'll kill myself. Then you can go die." Yang Feng dropped a sentence indifferently. Mue's pretty face suddenly turned pale, and her beautiful eyes shimmered with incredulity. In the past, as long as she said this, Lin Hua would soften and be obedient to her. But now Yang Feng doesn't care about her, leaving her at a loss. Yang Feng said, "Uncle Ling, the teachers of Light Spirit Advanced College have some strength. After all, she's not an ordinary peasant. It's a bit troublesome to make a move on her. Let her go." "Young master, she's just a commoner. Even if we kill her, our mansion will only need to compensate a sum of money. This girl's teacher is weaker than me. If they want to provoke our mansion, we can kill them at any time." Ling Mu smiled coldly at Mu Yu and straightened his body. An indomitable and domineering aura slowly spread out towards Mu Yu. Under that terrifying aura, Mu Yu's face turned pale and her body trembled uncontrollably. The Spirit Eye race practiced a feudal system. The Spirit Eye monarch was the king of the Spirit Eye kingdom. Below the king were the prince, and below the prince were the various prefectural princes. Below the prefectural princes were the duke, marquis, count, viscount, baron, and meritorious. Only by advancing to the eternal realm could one become a lord. Experts at the fifth heaven of the eternal realm were earls, the sixth heaven of the eternal realm were dukes, the seventh heaven of the eternal realm were dukes, the eighth heaven of the eternal realm were princes, and the ninth heaven of the eternal realm were spiritual eye kings. Yang Feng was the heir of Earl Guangyang's mansion. He also had the status of a lordship and was an aristocrat, standing high above the commoners. Even if they killed a commoner girl like Mu Yu, they would only be fined some money at most. If it was within Earl Guangyang's territory, then Yang Feng wouldn't even need to pay compensation for killing a commoner. Earl Guangyang had a fierce reputation in the Spirit Eye state. He fought against the winged race and made countless contributions. If Ling Hua can advance to the eternal sovereign rank in the future, he can inherit everything of Earl Guangyang after his death and become the new Earl Guangyang. Even if Ling Hua is just a good-for-nothing and can't advance to the eternal sovereign rank in the future, but he can still become an imperial lordship and get most of the property left by Earl Guangyang. Of course, the territory conquered by Earl Guangyang will be taken back by the empire and rewarded to the new aristocrats. The Dark Earth is a world where Eternals control everything. If you haven't advanced to the eternal sovereign realm, you are just a lowly person. Yang Feng uttered lightly, "Let her go, don't let her stay and disturb my practice." In Yang Feng's harem, there are many beautiful women. Although Mu Yu is also a beautiful girl, but she isn't outstanding enough for Yang Feng to stay. "Yes, young master." Ling Mu's eyes shimmered kindly, and his face sank and he said coldly, "You can go now. However, I warn you, don't get too close to Ling Juekong. Otherwise, your teacher and your family won't be able to escape death." Mu Yu trembled slightly, and tears streamed down her face. "Yes." Yang Feng was speechless at once. This is the tone of a villain. However, Ling Mu has stood up for his body. If he refutes him, it will undoubtedly be inconsistent with Ling Hua's usual behavior. Yang Feng naturally won't do that. Yang Feng said, "Open the Dark Origin Tower, I want to go in and practice cultivation." When Ling Mu heard this, his body trembled slightly, and his eyes flickered with excitement. "Okay. Young master." The Dark Origin Tower is one of the trump cards of Earl Guangyang as well as the cultivation holy land of Earl Guangyang's mansion. However, practicing cultivation inside is too painful. At the time, Ling Hua only practiced cultivation for a few days before complaining of bitterness and tiredness. He didn't want to enter anymore, wasting great cultivation resources in vain. So this is the Dark Origin Tower. It's really extraordinary. When Yang Feng reached the depths of Earl Guangyang's mansion, he saw a 100-meter tall black tower sitting in the deepest part of the mansion, radiating gloomy light. When Yang Feng entered the gate of the Dark Origin Tower, there was a flash of black light, and he appeared in a world full of endless darkness with only glimmers of light. Gloomy black light shone, and a frightening black beam enveloped Yang Feng. So heavy! In an instant, as if he is pressed down by a mountain, Yang Feng's body issued brittle sounds. This is the Dark Earth Monarch's eternal origin. How extravagant! Yang Feng opened his mouth and inhaled, and a large amount of black light entered his mouth. His eyes flashed with incredulity at once. The eternal origin of the Dark Earth Monarch can transform a person and increase their aptitude by leaps and bounds. This is a treasure that all eternal sovereigns yearn for the most. However, the black light in the Dark Origin Tower turns out to be the eternal origin of the Dark Earth Monarch, which is simply incredible. Yang Feng's eyes shimmered with enigmatic light. So that's how it is. No wonder there are so many experts in the Dark Earth world. Since the Dark Origin Tower can use the eternal origin of the Dark Earth Monarch to practice cultivation, it can naturally cultivate many powerful eternal sovereigns. If I'm not mistaken, the Dark Earth King has truly fallen. Yang Feng opened his mouth and inhaled, and the black beam entered his mouth. His body collapsed and shattered, revealing a right hand that has fused with his eternal essence. The right hand that has integrated with Yang Feng's eternal essence radiated light, absorbed the Dark Earth Monarch's eternal essence, cast the Spirit God body tempering art, and began to rapidly transform his body structure into that of an eternal God Emperor. The first layer. 2 layers. Cultivating the Spirit God body tempering method, Yang Feng broke through to the 9th firmament and reached the Empyrean realm, and his body gave off a flawless feeling. Yang Feng opened his eyes, and his eyes flashed with regret. Unfortunately, the Darkness Origin Pagoda was ruined by me. The resources here aren't enough for me to become an eternal one. At this time, Yang Feng's soul is still that of an eternal 9-firmament eternal lord, but his fleshly body has begun to be reforged using the Dark Earth Monarch's eternal lord origin. Once his fleshly body was reforged, he would reach the 9th heaven of the eternal realm. His fleshly body will surpass even that of an invincible Holy Lord rank powerhouse, and he will have the potential to advance to the Eternal Lord rank. Young Master, young Marquis Ning requests an audience. When Yang Feng walked out of the Darkness Origin Pagoda, Ling Mu came to him and said respectfully, "What is he doing here?" Yang Feng raised his eyebrows and walked towards the reception room. "Ling Hua, you're in big trouble. Ling Juekong has issued you an invitation to a Spirit Eye death match." On a sofa in the reception room sat a black-haired, black-clothed, handsome young man with slightly swollen eyes. He is Ning Feng, the son of the Flying Arrow Marquis Ning Buguang, and he is one of Ling Hua's silk pants friends. Yang Feng sat on a sofa and said with a faint smile, "Spirit Eye death match? What qualifications does a peasant like him have to challenge me?" In the Spirit Eye Kingdom, the Spirit Eye death match is a means for aristocrats to resolve disputes. If an aristocrat forms an irreconcilable feud with another aristocrat, they can invite the other party to a Spirit Eye death match. The invited party can refuse directly. However, in the Spirit Eye Kingdom, the strong are respected. The party who refuses will suffer a great loss of face in the kingdom. However, in the Spirit Eye death match, only aristocrats can challenge aristocrats. Commoners can't challenge aristocrats. Although Ling Juekong is a martial arts genius, but he is a commoner and is not qualified to challenge Yang Feng. Ning Feng said, "That guy is very lucky. Not long ago, he saved Duke Muguang's second daughter Mu Rong on the outskirts of the city and won Duke Muguang's appreciation. Duke Muguang has already bestowed him the title of a lordship. He is now a junior aristocrat. In the Spirit Eye Kingdom, only the Spirit Eye monarch is qualified to bestow titles of baron and above. However, greater aristocrats of baron and above are qualified to bestow titles of lordship. Of course, every time a title is bestowed, a fief must be bestowed. At the same time, an extremely expensive fief tax must be paid to the Spirit Eye Kingdom. It is precisely because of this that the Spirit Eye Kingdom is very cautious in bestowing titles of aristocrats. Greater aristocrats won't easily bestow titles of lesser aristocrats." Ning Feng's eyes flashed with a touch of ruthlessness as he said, "Ling Hua, Ling Juekong's spirit god-body tempering method is at least at the 7th level. Your spirit god-body tempering method is only at the 6th level. You have no chance of winning against him. You should go hide in your father's territory. If Ling Juekong dares to go to your father's territory, then kill him." Yang Feng said with a slight smile, "Ning Feng, where is a first-rate Dark Origin pagoda?" Ning Feng said, "A first-rate Dark Origin pagoda? The most powerful is naturally the Divine King Pagoda. That is a forbidden area for the royal family. Apart from the royal family, only the top nobles who have made great contributions can enter and cultivate there." Chapter 1538. Yang Feng frowned and said slowly, "Divine King Pagoda? It was a holy land for cultivation that even a first-rate greater aristocrat like Earl Guangyang could hardly enter. With Yang Feng's identity, it was naturally difficult for him to enter." Ning Feng said with a faint smile, "Apart from the Divine King Pagoda, there is the military's Merit Pagoda. As long as you consume merit points, you can practice cultivation in different levels of the Merit Pagoda. Then there is the Dark Source Pagoda controlled by the major families. The Dark Source Pagoda in your father's territory is definitely strong enough." Yang Feng pondered for a while, then his eyes shimmered with a peculiar glint, saying, "The military attaches great importance to the strong. It seems that a fight with Ling Juekong is inevitable. All right, I accept Ling Juekong's challenge." It was fine if Yang Feng didn't accept Ling Juekong's challenge, but in that case, it would be very difficult for him to develop in all aspects. After all, in the Spirit Eye Kingdom, the strong were respected. Cowards who avoided battle were not welcome anywhere. Ling Hua was the son of the first wife of Count Guangyang, while Ling Juekong was the #1 genius of the Light Spirit Advanced Academy. The death match between the two of them caused a small commotion in the spiritual light city of the Spiritual Eye Kingdom. 7 days later, the Light Spirit College's arena was already filled with students from the college as well as some good-for-nothings from major aristocrats. There were 3 old men seated on a high platform in the wrestling arena. The 3 old men were the Dean of Light Spirit College, an elder of the aristocratic senate, and Duke Muguang. Below the high platform sat more than 20 young men and women who were dressed in gorgeous clothes and had extraordinary temperaments that far surpassed ordinary students. They were the children of major aristocratic families in the Light Spirit City. In the Spirit Eye Kingdom, all the greater aristocrats were eternal sovereigns or above, and the aptitude of their descendants was far superior to that of ordinary people. In fact, the entire Spirit Eye Kingdom was in the hands of aristocrats and the royal family. As a result, the status of ordinary people was very low. Ling Juekong. He's here. Ling Juekong, so handsome. I love you. All of a sudden, the cheers of girls came from the Colosseum. A young man with short black hair, a tall and slender figure, sword-like eyebrows, and a mischievous smile on his face slowly stepped into the center of the wrestling ring. He was extraordinarily handsome and charming. This youth was the Light Spirit Advanced Academy's #1 prodigy, Ling Juekong. Brother Ju Kong, you can do it. I support you. Get rid of Ling Hua. Among the 20 or so young nobles who were dressed in luxurious clothes, a beautiful girl with long hair that reached her shoulders and a sexy figure, like a ball of fire, waved her small fist and shouted loudly. She was Duke Muguang's second daughter, Mu Rong. Ling Juekong waved his hand at the crowd in a dashing manner, and the crowd let out cries of surprise. One of the noblemen frowned slightly, and a look of disgust flashed in his eyes. He said coldly, "How annoying. He's just a lowly commoner, yet he's so ostentatious." Another noble youth smiled faintly and said, "Feng Yang, Ling Juekong is not simple." It was said that the third prince admired him very much and had already tried to recruit him. Duke Muguang is a general under the third prince. Feng Yang narrowed his eyes and fell silent. "Your Highness, the third prince?" If I hadn't descended, Ling Hua would have become a stepping stone for Ling Juekong even if he hadn't died. The Spirit God Body Tempering Method's 8th level is already in the Holy Spirit Warlock realm. His progress is really heaven-defying. He's very likely to be this world's child of destiny. Yang Feng walked out unhurriedly, looked at the handsome Ling Juekong and mused. The Ling Hua possessed by Yang Feng was also handsome, but compared to the handsome godlike Ling Juekong, they weren't on the same level at all. The elder of the kingdom's senate said indifferently, "Ling Hua, Ling Juekong, life is precious. No one is allowed to interfere in a fight to the death of a spirit eye. Only when one side dies will it end. Are you sure you want to have a fight to the death?" "I'm sure. Ling Hua insulted my beloved woman. This enmity is unbearable. I'm going to have a fight to the death with his spirit eye." Ling Juekong turned to look at Yang Feng with endless killing intent in his eyes and said coldly. With his hands behind his back, Yang Feng didn't even look at Ling Juekong and said indifferently, "I'm sure. Sign your names on it." The elder of the Senate waved his hand, and a piece of black magic bast paper flew out and landed in front of Ling Juekong and Yang Feng. Yang Feng and Ling Juekong signed their names on the magic bast paper. The elder of the Senate said unhurriedly, "I now announce the start of the fight to the death. Ling Hua, you've been a bully and despotic all these years. Besides, you dared to attack my Muyue. That's unforgivable. Today you'll be buried here." Ling Juekong stared at Yang Feng with frigid killing intent in his eyes. He beckoned with his hand, and a 2-meter-long black spear appeared in his hand. Black Dragon Spear. That's the weapon of the Dragon Spear Grand Duke. With the Black Dragon Spear Grand Duke, he assassinated 5 winged Grand Dukes in one fell swoop, establishing his reputation as the #1 Grand Duke. The Black Dragon Spear fell into his hands. That's Ling Juekong for you. Ling Hua is dead this time. A dignified shade flashed in everyone's eyes, and they uttered slowly, "Dragon Slayer Strike." Ling Juekong stared at Yang Feng, dark light flashed, and he suddenly tore through the void, appeared in front of Yang Feng as if teleporting, and stabbed with his spear. That's the power of a Tier 7 Extraordinary. So strong. A Tier 7 Extraordinary that's already close to a graduate. Ling Juekong is only 1 step away from graduating. He's only been in school for less than a year, yet his talent is really heaven-defying. Exclamations of shock came from the surroundings. In the Light Spirit Advanced College, as long as a student's cultivation base reaches the holy step, they can graduate. Once they enter the army, they can become an officer. In the army of the Spirit Eye Kingdom, the weakest soldiers are Infinity Warlock rank powerhouses. Warlock Monarch rank power. To think that he would play the trick of hiding his strength. Unfortunately, you've picked the wrong opponent. Yang Feng smiled coldly, raised his strength to the pinnacle holy step, and suddenly burst out. He slapped Ling Juekong's spear away with his left hand, and then slammed his right hand into Ling Juekong's chest like a poisonous dragon. Crack! The sound of bones fracturing came from Ling Juekong's chest. A dozen of his chest bones were broken by Yang Feng. How could this be? He was just a Tier 6 Extraordinary before. How could his strength soar to this point? Ling Juekong spewed out a large mouthful of blood, his eyes shimmered with incredulity, and he erupted with holy step power and unleashed an exquisite method to fight Yang Feng. Holy step. Ling Hua is also a holy step. What a deep concealment. How could that silk pants Ling Hua be a holy step? No. Stop, Ling Hua. You're not allowed to hit Ling Juekong. Stuff. Linghua. When the students of the Spiritual Light Advanced Academy saw this scene, they were all dumbfounded, and shock flashed in their eyes. In the Spiritual Light College, only those who have studied for decades and are close to graduation possess holy step power. Linghua has only been in the college for 3 years, while Ling Juekong has only been in the college for 1 year, yet he already possesses holy step power. This is simply heaven-defying. How is this possible? How can you have such terrifying power? Resisting Yang Feng's attack, Ling Juekong vomited blood and roared incredulously. Thank you very much, Ling Juekong. During the trial by fire, you knocked me off a cliff and almost killed me. However, it also gave me a fortuitous encounter and allowed me to be reborn. I've already died once, I'm no longer who I used to be. So, go to hell. A cold look in his eyes, killing intent surged, and Yang Feng punched Ling Juekong in the abdomen. A fearsome force broke out and crushed Ling Juekong's resistance, and he fell to the ground. It's over. A cold look in his eyes, Yang Feng descended from the sky and mercilessly stomped on Ling Juekong's head. As long as the foot hits, Ling Juekong will definitely die. Face pale, Mu Rong issued a shrill scream. No. Linghua, if you dare to kill Big Brother Juekong, I will never forgive you. I won't rest until you die. Face pale, Mu shouted. Stop, Linghua. If you kill Big Brother Juekong, I'll kill myself. Unmoved, Yang Feng stomped on Ling Juekong's head with a heart of stone. Stop. On the high platform, the Spiritual Light Advanced Academy's dean's hair and beard stood on end, his eyes wide open. A terrifying aura of the seventh heaven of the eternal realm emanated from his body and swept out in all directions. A cold look in his eyes, the senator of the Senate also emitted seventh firmament eternal realm aura and collided with the dean of the Spiritual Light College's aura. Dean of the Spiritual Light College, do you want to interfere in this fight and provoke the dignity of us aristocrats? Sure enough, the children of destiny always come out of desperate straits. It's a pity that you ran into me, who is no longer in the net of destiny. Withstanding the frightening might of the dean of the Spiritual Light College, Yang Feng smiled coldly and stomped on Ling Juekong's face, and a fearsome force erupted and seriously injured Ling Juekong. A copious amount of blood sprayed out of Ling Juekong's eyes, ears, mouth, and nose. Ling Juekong trembled slightly, lost all resistance, and fainted. Looking at the dean of the Spiritual Light College, Yang Feng uttered coldly, Dean of the Spiritual Light College, this is a fight to the death. A fight to the death between aristocrats is sacred and inviolable. Are you going to interfere in the fight between me and Ling Juekong? Chapter 1539. There was a look of helplessness in the eyes of the Feybright College's dean, and he said unhurriedly, Linghua, you and Ling Juekong are rare geniuses of the Feybright College. There's no need to kill each other. Give me some face and stop the Feybright duel with Ling Juekong, how about it? As long as you agree, I'll owe you a favor. In the future, as long as it doesn't violate morality, I'll help you once. The Feybright duel is a sacred and inviolable duel between aristocrats in the Feybright Kingdom. If the dean interferes with such a duel, he'll be deprived of his position as dean, stripped of his aristocratic title, and sent to the sinful slave camp. No one will dare to save him. Yang Feng said lightly, I have 3 conditions. If you and Duke Miguang agree to them, then I'll let Ling Juekong go. Otherwise, today will be the day he dies. The dean responded, Speak. Yang Feng uttered lightly, First, I want to enter the Feybright College's Feybright Dark Origin Tower and practice cultivation for 10 years. Second, I want to enter Duke Miguang's mansion's Feybright Dark Origin Tower and practice cultivation for 10 years. Third, I want 100,000 level 7 Darkness Origin Crystals. Darkness Origin Crystals are a special product of the Dark Earth world, a top resource that powerhouses need to practice cultivation. Existences below the Eternal Sovereign rank use Darkness Origin Stones to practice cultivation, while Eternal Sovereigns use Darkness Origin Crystals to practice cultivation. A level 2 Darkness Origin Crystal can be exchanged for 10 level 1 Darkness Origin Crystals, and so on. For the Dean, 100,000 level 7 darkness origin crystals is a huge fortune. The Dean's face turned pale, and he glared at Yang Feng hatefully and gritted his teeth, saying, I can agree to the first and third conditions. But the second condition requires the consent of Duke Miguang. A distressed expression on her face, Mu Rong pleaded with Duke Miguang. Father, save Big Brother Juekong, I beg you. As long as you save him, I'll agree to anything. Please. Duke Miguang's eyes shimmered with kindness, and he sighed faintly, Okay. I agree. Yang Feng bowed to the senator and said respectfully, Sir Senator, victory is already in my hands, and the other party has paid enough ransom. I want to cancel the Favorite duel, please allow me to do so. The senator grinned and pointed with a finger, and the black parchment ignited and turned into a flame. I'm very satisfied with your performance. Permission granted. Big Brother Ju Kong, Mu Yu and Mu Rong, the two great beauties, came to the fighting ring and carried Ling Juekong in their arms as two mournful screams rang out. Yang Feng looked at Ling Juekong, who looked like a wastrel, smiled indifferently, turned around, and walked outside. Although Ling Juekong is the child of fate of this world, but Yang Feng has already reached the 9th firmament eternal realm. No matter how fast he grows, it is almost impossible for him to catch up with Yang Feng. This is why Yang Feng spared Ling Juekong's life. Ling Hua, I'll definitely repay the humiliation I suffered today 100-fold in the future. Within 10 years, I will definitely fight you again. This time, I will definitely defeat you. Ling Juekong opened his eyes. Eyes flashing with unyielding fighting spirit, he stared at Yang Feng and barked. N. Yang Feng responded carelessly and strode towards the Dean of the Spiritual Light Institute. Yang Feng said, Sir Dean, please give me a certificate to enter the top floor of the Aurora Dark Origin Tower, as well as 100,000 level 7 Dark Origin crystals. With a wave of the Spiritual Light Institute's Dean, a black token and a black storage ring fell into Yang Feng's hand. Thank you, Sir Dean. Yang Feng smiled indifferently, turned around, and walked towards the Aurora Dark Origin Tower. The Aurora Dark Origin Tower is located in the deepest part of the Spiritual Light Institute. It is one of the top cultivation facilities of the Institute as well as one of its underlying foundations. Not bad, this Dark Origin Tower is much stronger than the one in Earl Guangyang's residence. No wonder so many geniuses gathered at the Spiritual Light Institute. Defeating Ling Juekong, the destined child, is indeed very beneficial. Just cultivating in this Dark Origin Tower alone is already a great profit. Yang Feng looked at the 10,000-meter-tall Aurora Dark Origin Tower engraved with countless mysterious runes, and his eyes revealed a look of satisfaction. The Aurora Dark Origin Tower is one of the top cultivation facilities of the Spiritual Light Institute. Originally, a lot of contribution points are required to enter and practice cultivation here for a day. This is because practicing cultivation in the Aurora Dark Origin Tower consumes a lot of resources. If Yang Feng wanted to practice cultivation here for a day, he would have to run around for at least half a month for the Spiritual Light Institute. But now, he has obtained 10 years of cultivation time in one go, which is something that even eternal sovereigns would be jealous of. Please show me your proof of entry. As soon as Yang Feng approached the Dark Origin Tower, a student stepped forward and said. Yang Feng waved his hand, and a black token appeared and radiated gloomy light, and the figure of the Spiritual Light Institute's dean appeared. The student's face changed slightly, and he uttered respectfully, It turns out to be a token bestowed by Sir Dean. Please come in. As soon as Yang Feng stepped into the Dark Origin Tower, the black token in his hand shone with hazy black light, and he was teleported to the top of the tower. It's just me. Right, this is the top of the Dark Origin Tower. Generally speaking, the contribution points required to practice cultivation here are enough for an ordinary student to spend a year doing missions. Yang Feng looked around, the corners of his mouth rose slightly, and he revealed a satisfied smile. He sat down, and countless mysterious runes appeared on his body. A vast and fearsome attractive force came from Yang Feng and frantically absorbed the surrounding Dark Earth Monarch's eternal origin. In the light Dark Source Pagoda, the Dark Earth Monarch's eternal origin is 100 times more concentrated than Earl Guangyang's Dark Source Pagoda. Yang Feng unscrupulously absorbed the Dark Earth Monarch's eternal origin and cast the Spirit God-Body Tempering method to strengthen himself. 7 days later, a fearsome aura came from the Aurora Dark Origin Tower and spread in all directions. Someone broke through and advanced to the Eternal Realm. Another genius broke through. The people practicing cultivation in the Aurora Dark Origin Tower opened their eyes slightly and then no longer paid attention. For ordinary people in the Dark Earth world, advancing to the Eternal Realm is as difficult as ascending to heaven. But for geniuses of the Spiritual Light Institute, advancing to the Eternal Realm is very common. Some freakish geniuses who have practiced cultivation for hundreds of years in the Spiritual Light Institute often break through in the Aurora Dark Origin Tower. So this is the Dark Earth world's eternal. This way of cultivation doesn't have much understanding of the laws of the universe, and it is difficult to pry open the great power of the universe. However, the strength of their fleshly body is far greater than that of eternal sovereigns of the same rank. Besides, eternal sovereigns of the Dark Earth world have no eternal immortality. Once they die for real. After Yang Feng advanced to the Eternal Realm, he quietly comprehended the changes in his body. Eternal sovereigns of the Dark Earth world cannot condense their eternal mark and engrave it in the universe. As a result, it is difficult for them to mobilize the power of the universe. At the same time, their manipulation of laws is far inferior to that of eternal sovereigns. However, the fleshly body of eternal sovereigns in the Dark Earth world is astonishingly strong. The fleshly body of a first firmament eternal sovereign is comparable to that of a fourth firmament eternal sovereign in the eternal world. The fleshly body that Yang Feng tempered with the Spirit God-Body Tempering method is already comparable to that of a seventh firmament eternal realm powerhouse. Yang Feng's eyes flashed with a scorching shade. If I can practice cultivation to the ninth firmament eternal realm here, my fleshly body will be comparable to that of an eternal monarch. Countless runes shone as Yang Feng frantically devoured the Dark Earth Tower's eternal origin, and his fleshly body and soul transformed and evolved frantically. What's going on? Why is the amount of dark force decreasing? What's going on? As Yang Feng practiced cultivation frantically, the concentration of the Dark Earth King's eternal origin in the Dark Earth Tower began to decrease frantically. The amount of dark force has decreased. Add more dark origin crystals. After Zhang Yuan, an elder in charge of the Light Dark Origin Tower, received the report, he frowned slightly and said, "Countless dark origin crystals were poured into an energy furnace of the Light Dark Origin Tower and transformed into pure dark origin force that filled the Dark Origin Tower. It's finally dense. I can practice cultivation for decades more." The cultivation geniuses in the Dark Origin Tower showed looks of satisfaction. But in the next moment, the dark origin force inside the Dark Origin Tower surged towards the top of the tower, and the concentration of dark origin force in the Dark Origin Tower became extremely thin again. A student ran to Zhang Yuan in a panic and said, "Elder, it's bad. The concentration of dark origin force in the Dark Origin Tower has decreased again." What? Alarmed, Zhang Yuan got up and walked towards the Dark Origin Tower. Someone is practicing a top-secret method. That person should be at the first firmament of the Eternal Realm. As soon as Zhang Yuan arrived in front of the Dark Origin Tower, he saw a steady stream of dark origin force converging on the top floor and forming a cloud of dark origin force. Zhang Yuan asked, "Who is on the top floor of the Dark Origin Tower?" The student quickly replied, "It's Ling Hua. He defeated Ling Juekong, and then used the token given to him by the dean to come to the top floor of the Dark Origin Tower to practice cultivation." Zhang Yuan's eyes shimmered coldly, and he said coldly, "Ling Hua, since it's him, don't add any more dark origin crystals to the Dark Origin Tower. As for the other people in the tower, tell them to leave." The student replied respectfully, "Yes, Elder." 10 days later, on the top floor of the Light Dark Origin Tower, Yang Feng slowly opened his eyes. The Dark Earth King's eternal origin force is running out. I have also advanced to the third firmament of the Eternal Realm. I can go to the Grand Duke's mansion now. When Yang Feng sensed the change in the concentration of dark origin force around the light dark origin tower, he smiled coldly, his figure fluttered, and he disappeared without a sound. Grand Duke Muguang's mansion, inside a luxurious hall. Yang Feng said in a neither servile nor overbearing manner, "Greetings, Sir Grand Duke." Chapter 1540. Sitting on the seat of honor with an expressionless face, Duke Muguang quietly looked at Yang Feng and said flatly, "Linghua, I didn't expect you to really dare to come to my mansion. Don't you know that my second daughter Mu Rong hates you to the bone?" Yang Feng responded with a smile, "Of course I know. However, with your identity and status, you naturally can't go back on your word. Besides, your second daughter's attitude doesn't represent yours." Duke Muguang's eyes flickered, and he uttered unhurriedly, "You're very smart. I heard that you broke through and became an eternal sovereign on the top floor of the Spiritual Light Advanced College." Yang Feng responded with a faint smile, "That's right. When I accepted Ling Juekong's challenge, I was already an Empyrean. It was only natural for me to advance in the Spiritual Light Advanced College." Duke Muguang said flatly, "Mu Sha." "Father." A beautiful woman with black hair and a sexy figure wearing a black dress walked over, bringing with her a fragrance. She looked very similar to Mu Rong, but she had a valiant air about her. Duke Muguang said, "This is my eldest daughter Mu Sha. Mu Sha, take Linghua to the Darkness Origin Tower." "Father." Mu Sha responded, then turned to look at Yang Feng. Her beautiful eyes shimmered with enigmatic light, and she uttered flatly, "Follow me." Yang Feng smiled indifferently and followed Mu Sha into the depths of Duke Muguang's mansion. In the deepest part of Duke Muguang's mansion, there is a Darkness Origin Tower. This Darkness Origin Tower is 1,000 meters tall. Although it is a long way from the Spiritual Light Advanced College's Darkness Origin Tower, but it is 10 times stronger than the Darkness Origin Tower in Duke Guangyang's mansion. As soon as Yang Feng entered the Darkness Origin Tower, he was teleported to a dark space. Mysterious runes flickered, and tremendous soul force swept the dark space and instantly scanned it. "There's no surveillance. I can practice cultivation to my heart's content." Duke Muguang really knows how to conduct himself. Yang Feng showed a look of satisfaction. He operated the improved spirit god-body tempering method and the devour heavenly attack he created, and frantically devoured the Dark Earth Monarch's Eternal Origin Tower. A fearsome whirlpool emerged outside the Darkness Origin Tower and formed a black fog. Mu Sha looked at the Darkness Origin Tower with an enigmatic gleam in her beautiful eyes. Amazing! This was spiritual essence. Looks like he's had a fortuitous encounter, and after going through Ling Juekong's attack, he's been reborn and has already become one of the top geniuses. 7 days later, the thick fog that shrouded the top of the Dark Origin Tower finally dissipated. Inside the Darkness Origin Tower, Yang Feng opened his eyes and looked at the shattered Level 7 Darkness Origin crystals on the ground with regret in his eyes. "I advanced to the 4th Firmament Eternal Realm. Unfortunately, those 100,000 rank 7 Darkness Origin crystals had already been exhausted. The amount of resources required to successfully cultivate the Eternal God Emperor body is simply too shocking. According to the information Yang Feng currently has, the White Jade Finger Bone surpasses that of the Eternal King by far. It should be the remains of the legendary Eternal God Emperor. The body Yang Feng is recultivating at this time is also transforming into the Eternal God Sovereign body. However, the Eternal God King body's power was terrifying, and the resources it required were beyond imagination. With Yang Feng's current strength, he can condense a 9th Firmament Eternal Warlock rank body and restore Eternal Warlock rank strength. But that is meaningless to him. "You're out. Father wants to see you." As soon as Yang Feng walked out of the Dark Origin Tower, Mu Sha appeared in front of him and said flatly. Surprise flashed in Yang Feng's eyes, and he followed Mu Sha to the study of the Grand Duke Manor. Grand Duke Muguang uttered meaningfully, "Linghua, in 7 days, you absorbed all the Darkness Origin force that can be cultivated for 10 years in the Dark Origin Tower. That's really amazing." Yang Feng responded with a faint smile, "Sir Grand Duke, you flatter me." Grand Duke Maguang uttered flatly, "Since you have advanced to the Eternal Sovereign rank, the next step should be to go to the battlefield and fight for your fief. My daughter Musha is also an Eternal Sovereign. I intend to make her your follower and have her follow you to fight on the battlefield and fight for your fief. She will follow you for 3 years, how about it?" Once the powerhouses of the Spirit Eye Kingdom advance to the Eternal Sovereign rank, they will take the initiative to go to the battlefield to fight with the winged god powerhouses and fight for territory from them. Only those who seize territory from the winged god powerhouses and grow stronger will be granted a title by the Spirit Eye Kingdom and become a hereditary peer aristocrat with a fief. Hereditary peer aristocrats only have to pay a large amount of resources to the Spirit Eye Kingdom every year to turn their territory into an independent kingdom. Only hereditary peer aristocrats have great power in the Spirit Eye Kingdom. They are the true upper class. Vaguely guessing Grand Duke Muguang's intentions, Yang Feng said with a smile, "It's my honor to have Miss Mu Sha follow me." Grand Duke Muguang smiled with satisfaction and chatted with Yang Feng for a while, and then Yang Feng left. With his relationship with Grand Duke Muguang coupled with Earl Guangyang, Yang Feng easily completed all the procedures to go to the front line and obtain the privilege of freely choosing the battlefield. Maple Forest Region is a small region located at the edge of the main battlefield between the Winged God Empire and the Spirit Eye Kingdom. Maple City is one of the 72 major cities of the Maple Forest Region. 500 years ago, Maple City belonged to the Spirit Eye Kingdom. After the Winged God Empire's expert Yi Guanghai killed the previous city master of Maple City, he seized Maple City from the Spirit Eye Kingdom, and Yi Guanghai became the new city master of Maple City. So this is the Winged God. They look a bit like angels, no? They are much stronger than angels, and their potential is also greater than that of angels. Strolling in Maple City, Yang Feng, shrouded in distorted fluctuations that interfered with everyone's perception, quietly observed the scene in Maple City. In Maple City, winged god powerhouses with pairs of light wings on their backs could be seen everywhere. The winged god powerhouses are handsome men and beautiful women. In addition to the pairs of light wings on their backs, there are also diamond-shaped crystals floating around them. The light wings and diamond-shaped crystals are crystals formed from the overflowing power of the winged god. In the fiercest battle, they can absorb the power of the light wings and diamond-shaped crystals and become more powerful. In the Dark Earth world, the winged god race is the #1 race and occupies the fertile land of the Dark Earth world. Mu Sha followed Yang Feng and asked curiously, "Linghua, what are your plans now?" "Follow me." Yang Feng smiled indifferently and walked in Maple City. After a dozen-plus breaths of time, he arrived at the city master's mansion. "Guanghai, come out and see me." Ripples flickered, and Yang Feng appeared in the eyes of everyone in Maple City's city master's mansion. A voice exploded in Maple City. "This madman! Yi Guanghai is a 4th Firmament Eternal Realm expert, an Earl rank powerhouse. He dares to provoke us, he's courting death." Mu Sha's beautiful eyes flashed with shock. With a wave of her hand, a strange veil appeared and enveloped her, completely concealing her figure. "Enemy attack! Enemy attack!" Alarms sounded in Maple City, and 6 eternal sovereign rank fluctuations of power rose in the city master's mansion. A tall winged god powerhouse with 2 pairs of light wings on his back, 4 purple diamond-shaped crystals around him, and exuding 4th Firmament Eternal Realm fluctuations of power walked out. He is Maple City's city master Yi Guanghai. Behind Yi Guanghai, 5 First Firmament Eternal Realm winged god powerhouses stared coldly at Yang Feng. "Eternal Sovereign of the Spirit Eye Kingdom. A mere 2nd Firmament Eternal Realm ant dares to provoke me. You're courting death. Even if your elders are guarding you, only death awaits you." Yi Guanghai glanced at Yang Feng with frigid killing intent in his eyes. The light wings on his back flashed, and he disappeared. As if teleporting, he appeared in front of Yang Feng and sent a claw barreling towards Yang Feng's heart. Mu Sha's beautiful eyes shimmered with unwillingness. "It's over. I didn't expect him to be such a fool. A playboy is a playboy after all." At that moment, a crystal ball around Yang Feng's neck flashed, and a sharp mechanical tentacle suddenly shot out lightning fast and stabbed towards the winged sea of light. The 4 purple diamond-shaped crystals in front of Iguanghai burst out with purple light and formed a purple barrier. The diamond-shaped crystals around the winged god race are their natural barriers. They are the most difficult race to mount a sneak attack on in the Dark Earth world. When the sharp mechanical tentacles stabbed the purple boundary, it instantly pierced through the purple boundary and easily pierced through Yi Guanghai's body. A fearsome devour force broke out and easily devoured Yi Guanghai's power, turning him into dust and disappearing. He has the Dark Earth Monarch's eternal origin force. It seems that most of the Eternals in the Dark Earth world are pseudo-Eternals. They are just carriers of the Eternal Monarchs. After they die, they will become nutrients for the Dark Earth world. If the Dark Earth world continues to evolve like this, then maybe after billions of years, the Dark Earth Monarch will be able to be reborn with the help of the Dark Earth world. When Yang Feng devoured Yi Guanghai's power, there was a look of surprise in his eyes, and he looked pensive. Eternal monarchs are extremely difficult to kill. Each of them hides countless resurrection methods. 1/3 of the existing eternal monarchs have died once and then been reborn. In the Dark Earth world, the eternal sovereigns can't refine the Dark Earth Monarch's eternal origin force, which shows that the secret method they cultivate is wrong. Even though they can obtain a fearsome power for a while, but they cannot exist forever. Their soul will decay, and they will eventually become nutrients for the Dark Earth Monarch's resurrection. Chapter 1541. Sir City Lord is dead. Kill him. Eyes shot with blood, Yi Guanghai's personal guards rushed towards Yang Feng. Idiot courting death. Yang Feng pointed with a finger, and a multi-barrel annihilation cannon suspended in the void appeared and fired a dense rain of annihilation beams that slammed into Yi Guanghai's personal guards. The saints and emperors of the Winged God clan were blasted apart one by one, and they transformed into countless pieces that flew towards the surroundings. Whenever they die, wisps of the Dark Earth Monarch's origin force will be drawn by Yang Feng's Devour essence and enter his body. The 5 first firmament eternal rank Winged God powerhouses, however, are aware of the danger. In an instant, they turned into 5 rays of light and flew in different directions. Want to escape? You're courting death. A pair of mechanical wings appeared behind Yang Feng. With a flap of his wings, 5 afterimages flashed in front of the 5 Winged God powerhouses. The 5 Winged God powerhouses trembled slightly, and 5 large holes appeared in their chests. Losing their vitality, they fell from the sky. Come out. Kill them all. After killing the 5 Winged God Eternal Sovereigns, Yang Feng clapped his hands, and 1,000 Infinity Warlock rank Winged God powerhouses walked out of the void. The 1,000 elites of the Solai race were all clad in silver mechanical armors. They held miniature destruction cannons in their hands as they attacked the Winged God race powerhouses. A dense rain of black beams blasted out from the annihilation cannons and blasted the Winged God powerhouses one after another. When the Winged God powerhouses cast secret methods that slammed into the Winged God powerhouses, they were blocked by the silver mechanical armor. Under the absolute suppression of the advanced technology, Maple City's City Lord Mansion was quickly suppressed and not a single one of the 1,000 soulful clan warriors died. Yang Feng uttered flatly, "Miss Mu Sha, haven't you always been curious about what fortuitous encounter I had? This is the fortuitous encounter I had. It's a force from an extraterrestrial civilization. Extraterrestrial demons? The forces of other demons opposed to the purple origin demons? You actually used the power of the extraterrestrial demons. Aren't you afraid that the kingdom will treat you as a traitor and hunt you down until you die?" Mu Sha frowned slightly. She walked out from the void and slowly said. Yang Feng uttered lightly, "First, I have no choice. If I don't use this power, I will never surpass Ling Juekong. Second, as long as I kill the purple origin devils, the kingdom will turn a blind eye to it. Thirdly, there has never been a law that says it's a crime for nobles to use the power of extraterrestrial civilizations." Mu Sha pondered for a moment before she chuckled, "You're right. As long as you continue to kill the Winged God race and the purple origin demon race, the kingdom won't care about these trivial matters. Also, There are many purple origin demons who have surrendered in the kingdom. If it weren't for them, we wouldn't have been able to obtain so much information. These silver armors and weapons are very powerful. This 1,000-man team was originally ordinary. However, with the enhancement of their equipment, their combat strength could probably contend against eternal sovereigns. Linghua, how many of these items do you have? Can you sell some of them to me? Mu Sha watched as the Winged God clan's elite troops fearlessly slaughtered the remaining Winged God clan members in Maple City. Her beautiful eyes shone with a brilliant light. For the Mu Sha family, Infinity Warlock rank elite soldiers are nothing. In the Mu Sha family, there is even a holy rank elite soldier. However, if the holy rank elite soldier of the Mu Sha family faces the 1,000 soldiers equipped with the silver mechanical armor and destruction cannons, only death will await them. This is the importance of equipment. Yang Feng flicked his finger, and a list of materials flew into Mu Sha's hand. I can manufacture this equipment in bulk. You have to prepare the materials yourself and give me a level 7 Dark Origin crystal for each set. After Mu Sha looked at the list of materials, she frowned slightly and then uttered decisively, "Okay, give me 100,000 sets first." With 100,000 sets of equipment, Duke Muguang's strength will increase by a large margin and strengthen his territory. At the same time, he will have extra strength to attack the Winged God race. In addition, with how powerful the silver mechanical armor is, Duke Muguang can make a fortune by selling it. Yang Feng shook his head. 100,000 sets? I can't come up with that much at once. All my resources and strength must be used in my territory. I can sell you 100 sets at most. Mu Sha's beautiful eyes flickered with extraordinary splendor, and she said with a sweet smile, "Okay. I will cooperate with you to suppress this place as soon as possible." After Maple City was captured, Earl Guangyang and Duke Muguang's support poured in from the rear and helped Yang Feng quickly take control of Maple City. Yang Feng led the army to sweep through the forces around Maple City. One after another, the strongholds of the Winged God race and the Purple Origin Demon race were captured and destroyed by him, and he obtained a large number of contribution points. After suppressing Maple City, Yang Feng commanded a legion of 10,000 Spirit Eye Infinity Warlock rank powerhouses as the main force to continue the attack. In the Maplewood region, one city after another occupied by the Winged God race was captured by Yang Feng, and he devoured all kinds of precious resources. Every time he slays a Winged God Eternal, Yang Feng's strength increases by a notch. Strengthened by the silver transcendent armor, the 10,000 Spirit Eye Infinity Warlock rank powerhouses became stronger and stronger. The transcendent armor is an armor Yang Feng forged by combining all kinds of technologies he mastered and Blast Eel Race's technology as the core. Once the Demon God's armor was equipped and they killed powerful enemies at the same time, those experts would be strengthened by the feedback of the Demon God's armor. On the main road leading to Luozhou City from the Maple Forest region, a Silver Legion equipped with Demon God battle armor was marching, forming a long and horrifying dragon. The Dark Earth world is shrouded in a fearsome gravity. Everyone's physique is astonishingly high, and flying consumes an astonishing amount of power. Even if it is a first firmament eternal sovereign powerhouse, flying at full speed for an hour in the Dark Earth world will exhaust more than 90% of their strength. Because of this, except for some top battles, large-scale flying tools are very rare in the Dark Earth world. In the center of the Silver Legion, there is a luxurious carriage pulled by an eternal sovereign rank Hydra. Inside the luxurious carriage, there is a person. It is Yang Feng. There are countless Dark Origin crystals floating around Yang Feng, and wisps of the Dark Earth Monarch's origin force are pouring into him. Stop. Get into formation. Yang Feng suddenly opened his eyes and ordered coldly. The 10,000 soldiers equipped with the transcendent armor stopped almost in an instant, took out miniature destruction artilleries, and looked around vigilantly. As expected of the Silver Death God Linghua, the most outstanding rising star of the Kingdom Spirit Eye. Unfortunately, you're too stupid and don't know how to restrain yourself. A mere existence at the second heaven of the Eternal Realm, who only obtained a treasure, dares to wantonly slaughter my winged god clan in my Maplewood region. Today is the day you die. A cold voice resounded in the void. A 189-meter tall winged god clan expert with 3 pairs of light wings on his back and 6 purple crystals floating around his body walked out of the void. He exuded a terrifying aura of the 6th heaven of the eternal realm. One after another, winged powerhouses walked out of the void. A total of 48 winged powerhouses exuding 4th firmament eternal sovereign rank breath or above walked out of the void and stared coldly at Yang Feng. The 6th throne's powerhouse uttered frigidly, "I am the Maple Forest region's realm master Yi Baining. These are the city masters of the Maple Forest region. They came specially to encircle and annihilate you. Silver Death God Linghua, you should be proud to die at our hands." The Maple Forest region's winged powerhouses are naturally not fools. They gave Yang Feng a chance to defeat them one by one. After Yang Feng captured a few cities, the Maple Forest region's realm master Yi Baining finished negotiating with the Maple Forest region city masters, and then came to intercept Yang Feng. In the Dark Earth world, with so many 4th firmament eternal sovereign rank powerhouses joining forces, they can defeat a 7th firmament eternal sovereign rank powerhouse. After all, unlike Eternals in the Eternal world, 7th firmament eternal sovereign rank powerhouses can't freely use universe laws and mobilize universe force to crush powerhouses below the 6th firmament eternal sovereign rank. Yang Feng alighted from the chariot and waved his hand, and the 10,000 soldiers wearing the transcendent armor began to resonate and activate a powerful barrier to defend themselves. A powerful concealment barrier has been activated. Very good. In this way, as long as I kill you all, no one will know my secret. Yi Baining, the reason why I appeared here and let you besiege me is because I wanted to gather you all and catch you all in one fell swoop. Sure enough, you didn't let me down. Yang Feng strode towards Yi Baining and the other winged Eternals by himself. Let's attack together and kill him. Unease welled up inside Yi Baining and he barked. Winged God Blade. The eyes of the dozens of Maple Forest region's city masters flickered fiercely, and they unleashed the strongest offensive secret method of the winged god race. The light wings behind them merged with the rhombus crystals in front of them and turned into winged god blades that slashed towards Yang Feng. The winged god blades are one of the strongest offensive secret methods of the winged god race. When the winged god city masters join forces, they can seriously injure or even kill 7th firmament eternal sovereign rank powerhouses. After images flickered, and the winged god blades slashed into Yang Feng. Boom! Amidst a series of earth-shattering explosions, the winged swords were shattered, and terrifying shockwaves spread out in all directions. Chapter 1542. Amid the fearsome explosion, Yang Feng walked out unhurriedly. His clothes were shredded to pieces, yet not a single wound was left on his body. Monster! How is this possible? How can he have such a powerful fleshly body? The Spirit Eyes Monarch, only a powerhouse of the Spirit Eyes Monarch's rank can possess such a terrifying fleshly body. Is Linghua the Spirit Eyes Monarch in disguise? When the city masters of the Maplewood region saw Yang Feng walk out of the explosion step by step, they were struck dumb, and a chill welled up inside them. The corners of Yang Feng's mouth rose slightly, the fleshly body tempered by the spirit god body tempering art and the devour heaven art is really perfect. Such a fleshly body is the foundation for me to advance to the eternal monarch rank. Before entering the dark earth world, although Yang Feng was an eternal monarch who could defeat Yi Baining and the city masters of the Maplewood region with a flip of his hand, but his fleshly body could not withstand the attacks of the city masters of the Maplewood region. By using the spirit god body tempering art and the devour heaven art coupled with the dark earth monarch's origin force, Yang Feng's fleshly body has become extremely terrifying and close to perfection. A fierce ray flashed in Yi Baining's eyes, and he slashed at Yang Feng with the winged god blade. Yang Feng frowned slightly, then grabbed the winged god blade and crushed it with his hand, and a fearsome force erupted and crushed the winged god blade. My defense is still not enough. A trifling 6th heaven of the eternal realm ant injured me. Yang Feng spread the fingers of his hand, and drops of blood dripped from his right hand. There is a deep wound on his right hand. With a flash of black light, the wound on Yang Feng's right hand healed. Yi Beining's eyes flashed with joy, and he shouted, "It's effective, our attack is effective. As long as we join forces, we can even kill a 7th Firmament Eternal Realm powerhouse, let alone a mere 4th Firmament Eternal Realm powerhouse like Linghua. You talk too much." With a flash of an afterimage, as if teleporting, Yang Feng appeared in front of Yi Beining and smashed Yi Beining's rhombus crystal barrier with a claw, and then stabbed him in the heart. A terrifying devouring force erupted, and Yi Beining's eternal source was sucked dry. It turned into dust and drifted away with the wind. Monster! This guy is a monster. So Linghua himself is the most terrifying monster. The faces of the dozens of city lords at the 4th heaven of the eternal realm of the Maplewood region changed drastically, and they frantically fled in all directions. "Since you're here, then don't leave." Yang Feng smiled coldly and spread the fingers of a hand, and a Devour rune appeared on his right hand, and a fearsome Devour force swept towards the dozens of Maplewood region city chiefs. "No! Stop!" Along with screams, the dozens of Maplewood region city lords were sucked in, turned into streams of light, and entered Yang Feng's right hand. After struggling for just a moment, they turned into ashes. Countless mysterious runes flickered, and Yang Feng closed his eyes. After a dozen-plus breaths of time, his body structure changed wildly, and he advanced to the 5th Firmament Eternal Realm in one fell swoop. "This world is amazing. The strength of my body has improved by a large margin again. I need more resources. Only then can I become stronger." When Yang Feng opened his eyes, he felt the terrifying power pouring out of his body, and the corners of his mouth rose into a smile. At this time, in terms of the strength of his fleshly body alone, Yang Feng has even surpassed ordinary Eternal Realm powerhouses. Even Holy Lord rank powerhouses are far from his opponent. "Continue the attack." Yang Feng's figure fluttered, and he returned to his carriage and ordered indifferently, "Yes, my lord." The eyes of the 10,000 soldiers clad in the transcendent armor shimmered with fanaticism, and they continued to march towards the next city in the Maplewood region. In this battle, Yang Feng swept away all the top powerhouses of the Winged God race in the Maplewood region, and the Winged God race in the Maplewood region began to flee. Every time Yang Feng captured a city, with the help of Earl Guangyang and Grand Duke Miguang, he easily took control of the city. As one victory after another came back to the Feybright Kingdom, countless Feybright powerhouses eager to make contributions joined Yang Feng's forces, increasing the number of troops under his command. After Yang Feng captured the entire Maplewood region and took control of it, he began to lay dormant and mobilize the resources of the Maplewood region for his cultivation. At the same time, he reorganized his army and improved his strength. The Winged God race's headquarters, the Magic Wing City, is a floating continent 1,000 meters above the Dark Earth world and covers an area of 13.65 million square kilometers. The mass of the Dark Earth world is far greater than that of an ordinary celestial body, and its gravity is terrifying. Even eternal sovereigns find it difficult to fly in the Dark Earth world for a long time. For the Magic Wing City to be able to float above the Dark Earth world is simply terrifying. The Magic Wing City is the only floating continent in the Dark Earth world. In the Magic Wing City, in the Purple Temple of the Magic Wing's Royal Palace, there sits a handsome winged god monarch with 10 wings of light on his back and 10 purple rhombus crystals surrounding him. The winged god monarch is the #1 powerhouse in the Dark Earth world, far surpassing the Feybright monarch and the other monarchs of the Dark Earth world. A guard kneeling in front of the winged god monarch is reporting information about the Maplewood region to him. The winged god monarch said lightly, "Step down." "Your Majesty." The guard responded respectfully. Then, his figure flickered and he disappeared from where he stood. The winged god monarch said coldly, "A Feybright little guy using strange machinery appeared in the Maplewood region. Is he one of you?" Ripples flickered in the void and formed a projection of the Purple Origin Demon Lord. The Purple Origin Demon Lord uttered unhurriedly, "No. If I'm not mistaken, The fey-bright little guy should have obtained the help of my enemy Yang Feng, which is why he suddenly rose to power. The winged god monarch asked unhurriedly, is it possible that he was possessed by Yang Feng? The purple origin demon lord replied lightly, impossible. There is a terrifying barrier in your dark earth world. Unless it is the legendary eternal king, almost no one can descend to your world with their soul. A cold look in his eyes, the winged god monarch uttered frigidly, Eternal king. I want the knowledge to advance to the eternal king rank. When will you trade with me? As long as you prepare the darkness origin crystals, we can trade at any time. However, as long as you are still in the dark earth world, you can't advance to the eternal king rank. The dark earth world is a world established by the dark earth monarch, and it is his hope for rebirth. You Eternals of the dark earth world are just nutrients for his rebirth. Join forces with me. As long as you join forces with me and inflict heavy damage to the dark earth world's origin crystal, you will gain true freedom. You can go to the universe and become a true eternal one. You can never be destroyed. Instead of staying in the cage of the dark earth world and turning into a pile of bones after tens of thousands of years, you will become nutrients for the dark earth monarch's rebirth. The purple origin demon lord's tempting voice sounded in the winged god monarch's ears like a fiend's whisper. The winged god monarch said with a cold smile, if the origin of the dark earth world is severely damaged, you can take the opportunity to enter the dark earth world, absorb its power, and attack the eternal king realm. Am I right? The purple origin demon lord replied lightly, that's right. However, there is one thing you are wrong about. By absorbing the power of the dark earth world, I only obtained a portion of resources to advance to the eternal king realm. It's not that simple to advance to the eternal king realm. The winged god monarch uttered coldly, I have already prepared the level 9 darkness origin crystals you want. The trade will take place 10 days from now. As you wish. The purple origin demon lord smiled indifferently, turned into black smoke, and disappeared. Only by destroying our world can I obtain true freedom and true eternity? The winged god monarch sat quietly. After a long time, he sighed faintly, and a complicated ray flickered in his eyes. The winged god monarch uttered lightly, Jiejia, Your Majesty. With a flicker of a shadow, a beautiful woman with a sexy figure dressed in black appeared in the hall, knelt on one knee in front of the winged god monarch, and spoke respectfully. Jiejia was the Shadow Goddess clan's matriarch, as well as the strongest assassin in the dark earth world. After being subdued by the winged god monarch, she became his right-hand man in the darkness. The winged god monarch's eyes flickered brightly and he said slowly, Go kill Lin Hua. No, if possible, do your best to capture him alive. If you really can't capture him alive, then kill him. Before killing him, think of a way to communicate with the powerhouses of the outer realms. Sire. With a flicker of afterimages, Jiejia disappeared from where she stood. Duke Muguang's residence. After Duke Muguang listened to his subordinate's report, his eyes flickered with a strange glint, and he said with a smile, the Maplewood region was actually captured by him in such a short time. Truly amazing, Duke Guangyang really gave birth to a good son. I'm afraid that Lin Hua's achievements will surpass mine soon. Mu Rong uttered with an incredulous expression, What? The Maplewood region was captured by that bastard Lin Hua? As the second-in-line successor to Duke Muguang's residence, Mu Rong naturally knows what it means for Yang Feng to capture the Maplewood region. It means that once Yang Feng's cultivation base breaks through in the future, he will become a hereditary peer-grader aristocrat, and his fief will be larger than Duke Muguang's. He will become the darling of the upper class of the Spirit Eye Kingdom. There are countless precious resources in the Maplewood region. With the talent Yang Feng displayed, he will have no problem advancing to the fourth firmament eternal realm in the future. This means that Yang Feng will become a greater aristocrat of the Spirit Eye Kingdom in the future. Chapter 1543. Father, the Maplewood region is a territory that Lin Hua conquered with the help of our family. We can have him cede half of the territory to our family. The Maplewood region is a big piece of meat. If we join forces with other greater aristocrats, We can definitely swallow the Maplewood region and destroy Linoa's foundation. Father, I beg you help me this once. Help me destroy Linoa's foundation. Otherwise, Juekong will have no hope of catching up to Linhua. With tears in her beautiful eyes, Mu Rong pleaded pitifully. Mu Rong, it seems that I spoiled you too much in the past. The aristocrats of the Spirit Eye Kingdom either advance or retreat. The struggle is cruel, and the slightest carelessness can lead to the extermination of their family. Linhua's current potential is far greater than that of Ling Juekong. Unless Ling Juekong can surpass Linhua in the future, I can't continue to support him. Duke Miguang sighed faintly. As if he aged by hundreds of years, he said lightly, "Take the second young lady to the splendid pavilion. She is not allowed to go out without my order. Second young lady, please come with us." Two beautiful maids with Empyrean rank strength came out from the side, restrained Mu Rong, and took her outside. Mu Rong's pretty face changed and she pleaded loudly, "No. Father, don't lock me up in the splendid pavilion. No, I want to find Big Brother Juekong." Once Mu Rong is locked up in the splendid pavilion, although she will receive the same treatment, but she won't be able to walk freely outside, let alone see Ling Juekong. A cold look in his eyes, Duke Miguang watched as Mu Rong was dragged away. When it comes to the foundation of the family, even though Duke Miguang has always doted on Mu Rong, he won't let this matter go awry. Duke Miguang's eyes flickered. The two peerless geniuses Linhua and Ling Juekong are related to my ducal mansion. In this way, no matter who wins or loses in the future, my ducal mansion will benefit greatly and won't suffer the wrath of the other party. Maplewood region's capital, Green Leaf Maple City. In a secret room, countless dark origin crystals are floating around Yang Feng, and a steady stream of dark origin force is pouring into him. A token beside Yang Feng flickered with gloomy light. Yang Feng inhaled and swallowed a large amount of black mist. Then, he opened his eyes and looked at the black token. The Crown Prince of the Spirit Eye Kingdom has brought his fiancée, the third princess of the Flower God Kingdom, and many good friends to the Maplewood region. You really don't give me any peace. When Yang Feng saw the information transmitted from the black token, his eyebrows creased slightly. The Crown Prince of the Spirit Eye Kingdom was also a cultivation genius. His cultivation was at the seventh heaven of the Eternal Realm, and his cultivation was the best among the princes. If there were no accidents, the Crown Prince would succeed the current Spiritual Eye King after his abdication. Yang Feng was a subject of the Spirit Eye Kingdom. No matter how impatient he was, he still had to deal with him. 7 days later, 100 kilometers away from the Green Leaf Maple City, Yang Feng and the officials of the Maplewood region stood quietly. A 100-meter-long silver vessel with 6 pairs of wings flew over from the sky and slowly landed in front of Yang Feng and the others. A peerlessly handsome young man with an extraordinary temperament and a bright red flower on her head and a peerlessly beautiful woman in yellow clothes walked over with a fragrance wafting through the air. She had a golden ratio figure, and her every movement seemed to be perfect and flawless. Behind the young man and the peerless beauty, there were dozens of handsome men and beautiful women. But when they stood together with the young man and the peerless beauty in front of them, they became green leaves that set off the red flower. Yang Feng stepped forward and said, "Greetings, Your Highness the Crown Prince, Princess Hua Yen. Linghua, in order to commend your contribution in recovering the Maplewood region, the Spirit Eye Kingdom bestows the Maplewood region upon you as your fief and conferred upon you the title of Baron of the Kingdom. I hope that you will continue to work hard and continue to serve the kingdom." The Crown Prince of the Spirit Eye Kingdom smiled gently and handed Yang Feng a golden parchment. Yang Feng replied in a neither servile nor overbearing manner, "Yes. I will definitely serve the kingdom to the best of my abilities until the day I die." Yang Feng said, "I have prepared a welcoming banquet for Your Highness. Please come with me, Your Highness." The Crown Prince of the Spirit Eye Kingdom said with a smile, "Okay." In the Green Leaf Maple City, a grand banquet was held. Shortly after the banquet began, Princess Hua Yen went to the side hall to rest, claiming that she was feeling unwell. The Crown Prince of the Spirit Eye Kingdom became the center of the banquet. A beautiful palace made next to Princess Hua Yen came up to Yang Feng with a fragrance wafting from her and said, "Sir Ling Hua, Her Highness the Princess invites you to come with me." "Alright." Yang Feng responded faintly, and then followed the beautiful palace made towards the side hall. "Your Highness the Princess, may I ask why you summoned me?" When he stepped into the side hall, Yang Feng saw Princess Hua Yen, dressed in snow-white lace pajamas, leaning against a soft sofa, exuding a languid and enchanting aura. She was extremely beautiful and exuded an amazing charm. The entire side hall seems to have become very beautiful because of Princess Hua Yen. Traces of fresh floral fragrance wafted in the side hall, bringing with it a fragrance that could make one feel happy. "Ling Hua, come and have a drink with me." Princess Hua Yan's beautiful eyes sparkled, and she smiled charmingly at Yang Feng with a white jade wine cup in her small, jade-like hand. Princess Hua Yan's smile was like 100 flowers blooming. The entire side palace seemed to be dyed with a layer of magnificent colors. Almost no one could resist her smile. What a beautiful trap. This floral fragrance should have an aphrodisiac effect. The floral fragrance of the Heaven Desire flower is mixed with the floral fragrance of other exotic flowers. Even Seventh Firmament Eternal Realm powerhouses can't resist this floral fragrance. After all, this floral fragrance is harmless to the human body. On the contrary, it's a great tonic. It's the best thing to liven things up. "Princess Hua Yen, I have no enmity with you. Why did you set me up?" Yang Feng looked at Princess Hua Yen, whose looks and temperament can be rated as peerless. Among all the beauties he has ever seen, his eyes flashed with admiration, and he said calmly and indifferently, "Amazing! Ling Hua, you are really a powerful person to be able to resist my charm." Furthermore, he actually saw through my plan with a single glance. Truly amazing. Unfortunately, from the moment you stepped into this side hall, everything was already decided. Princess Hua Yen revealed a sweet and charming smile and flicked her finger. Rays of light flashed and turned into large hands that grabbed her nightgown and tore it into pieces, turning it into countless pieces that fell to the ground. Streaks of black light flashed, and large handprints and teeth marks appeared on Princess Hua Yan's body. Anyone who saw Princess Hua Yen would think that she had been viciously humiliated and defiled by Yang Feng. "Help!" Almost at the same time, Princess Hua Yen let loose a heart-wrenching scream. "Your Highness, what's wrong?" Boom! With a loud bang, the door of the side palace was blasted open. A dozen-plus flower god maids with eternal sovereign rank cultivation base rushed into the gate, blocked in front of Princess Hua Yen, and looked at Yang Feng with vigilance. "Hua Yen, what's wrong with you?" "Hua Yen!" The crown prince of the Spirit Eye Kingdom rushed into the side hall. Looking at the disheveled Princess Hua Yen, his eyes almost spurted flames that can burn everything, his handsome and gentle face twisted, and he wailed like a ruthless ghost. The dozens of aristocratic young masters of the Spirit Eye Kingdom followed the crown prince and rushed in. When they saw Princess Hua Yan's disheveled clothes, their gazes turned and fell on Yang Feng, and killing intent filled their eyes. With tears streaming down her face, Princess Hua Yen wailed softly, "Your Highness Crown Prince, I had a good rest here just now. Ling Hua suddenly barged in and had ill intentions towards me. I resisted with all my might to preserve my innocence. Your Highness, you must uphold justice for me." "Ling Hua, you bastard! I admired you very much. Not only did I fight for the Maplewood region to be your fief, but I also personally came to recruit you. Is this how you repay me? You bastard! You dare to attack my woman? I'll exterminate your clan. I'll exterminate your clan." His eyes shot with blood, his body trembling. The crown prince of the Spirit Eye Kingdom issued a fearsome roar like a wounded beast. "Bastard! Damn bastard! How dare you attack Princess Hua Yen? This damned beast is dead for sure." The dozens of aristocratic young masters of the Spirit Eye Kingdom standing behind the crown prince glared at Yang Feng and cursed loudly. This is a trap. An impeccable trap. Princess Hua Yen used her reputation to frame Ling Hua. Ling Hua is dead meat. Standing quietly in the distance, Mu Sha looked at this scene with a gloomy expression. She was very clear that Yang Feng was a cultivation madman, spending nearly all of his time on cultivation. With Yang Feng's status, as long as he wants to, he can find thousands of beauties and immerse himself in their tenderness every day. Those beauties may not be as peerless as Princess Hua Yan, but they are definitely one in a million beauties. There is no need for him to attack Princess Hua Yan. Wonderful! What a wonderful plot! This plot is flawless, I give it 10 points. Amidst the shouts, the corners of Yang Feng's mouth rose into a smile, and he clapped his hands and praised. When Princess Hua Yan saw this scene, an ominous premonition suddenly welled up inside her, and she threw herself into the arms of the Crown Prince of the Spirit Eye Kingdom and pleaded, crying, "Your Highness the Crown Prince, you must uphold justice for me. Linghua, how dare you attack my woman? Then go to hell." A fierce ray flashed in the eyes of the Crown Prince of the Spirit Eye Kingdom, and he roared. Black light revolved around him, and seventh firmament eternal realm power suddenly erupted. As if teleporting, he appeared in front of Yang Feng and sent a fist barreling towards Yang Feng. Chapter 1544. Your plot is almost flawless. No, even if there is a mistake with your identity, it can be made into an irrefutable case. You can't turn the tables. The only thing you guys missed out on is my strength. It's very simple to break this plot. I just have to kill you all. This matter won't spread outside. Yang Feng smiled indifferently and extended his right hand, and a hazy black light enveloped his right hand. The hand tore through the firmament, easily pierced through the barrier of the Crown Prince of the Spirit Eye Kingdom, and stabbed him in the heart. A terrifying force erupted and smashed the heart of the Crown Prince of the Spirit Eye Kingdom, raising a mist of blood. You dared to attack me. The eyes of the Crown Prince of the Spirit Eye Kingdom shimmered with incredulity, and he uttered each syllable. The Crown Prince of the Spiritual Eye Kingdom was already the publicly acknowledged successor of the Spiritual Eye King. Killing him was equivalent to rebelling. That was a heinous crime that could not be pardoned. No one could bear such a crime. He couldn't believe that an aristocrat of the Spirit Eye Kingdom dared to kill him. Stupidity is also a crime. Since you're stupid enough to be my enemy, then I can only send you on your way. Your Highness, have a safe journey. Yang Feng said indifferently. Countless devour runes appeared, and black light enveloped the Crown Prince of the Spirit Eye Kingdom. The Crown Prince trembled slightly, and then turned into ashes inch by inch. His Highness the Crown Prince was killed by Linghua. What do we do? We'll all be killed by him. When the children of the greater aristocrats of the Spirit Eye Kingdom saw this scene, a chill welled up inside them and they trembled. Princess Hua Yan's devastatingly beautiful face suddenly changed, and she blurred into motion, turned into a stream of light, and fled frantically. She already knew that Yang Feng was filled with killing intent. A transparent barrier that blocked everything appeared. Zero floated above the barrier and flicked his finger. A terrifying shock wave blasted into Princess Hua Yan and blasted her down like an ant. She fell to the ground, her body cracked and covered in blood. Yang Feng looked at the wounded Princess Hua Yan who fell to the ground and said indifferently, "Princess Hua Yan, I have no enmity with you, so why did you set up a trap for me?" Princess Hua Yan gritted her teeth and said, "I don't know what you're talking about. Linghua, you actually dared to murder the Crown Prince of the Soul Eye Kingdom. Aren't you afraid of being hunted down by the kingdom? Who said that I killed the Crown Prince of the Spirit Eye Kingdom? It was clearly the Winged God Clan's assassins who snuck into my banquet and started a massacre. They tried to assassinate the Crown Prince of the Spirit Eye Kingdom and even killed Princess Hua Yan. What a pity!" With a faint smile, Yang Feng took a step, teleported in front of an ordinary-looking aristocratic young man, and extended his hand, and devour runes emerged and shot towards the young man. "No! Don't kill me!" The complexion of the aristocratic young man changed dramatically, and he roared. Dark light appeared on his body, burst out, and turned into a bloody shadow arrow that tore through the sky and stabbed towards Yang Feng. Yang Feng casually grabbed with his hand, and the bloody shadow arrow was smashed and devoured. Behind the aristocratic young man, an afterimage flickered, and then formed in the void and turned into the gorgeous patriarch of the shadow goddesses Jieja. Jiejia's beautiful eyes shimmered with dignity, and she stared at Yang Feng and asked, "Linghua, when did you discover me?" "I discovered you from the beginning, Jiejia, patriarch of the shadow goddesses clan. Originally, I thought that your target was the crown prince of the Spirit Eye Kingdom, so I didn't pay attention to you. However, it now seems that your target should be me. That's great. Once I kill you, you'll be the scapegoat for the assassination of the crown prince of the Spirit Eye Kingdom. You should be happy. In this way, the status of the shadow goddesses clan in the winged god race may rise by a bit." Yang Feng looked at the beautiful patriarch of the shadow goddesses clan and smiled faintly, his words full of killing intent. "Everyone, the crown prince of the Spirit Eye Kingdom has died at the hands of Linghua. He has gone mad and is bound to kill us. Only by joining hands and killing him will we have a chance at survival." Jiejia's beautiful eyes flashed coldly, and black shadows emerged from her and split into 9 shadow avatars, each of which exudes 8th firmament eternal realm rank power. Ripples flickered, and the 9 shadow avatars disappeared into the void. "Everyone attack and kill him. Only by killing him will we have a chance at survival." Princess Hua Yan's beautiful eyes shimmered coldly, and she spread her fair, white fingers and beautiful flowers bloomed. Countless petals fluttered and turned into flower blades stabbing towards Yang Feng. "Kill!" The eyes of the dozens of greater aristocratic children of the Spirit Eye Kingdom shimmered with killing intent, and they unleashed offensive secret methods barreling towards Yang Feng. "That's right. Only by killing me will you have a chance at survival. Unfortunately, you're too weak." Yang Feng smiled faintly and, like a heavy tank, slammed into the countless petals released by Princess Hua Yan. Ice, fire, lightning, poison, and other strange forces burst out on Yang Feng. With a flash of light, Yang Feng forcibly rushed out from the midst of the countless strange forces, without a single scar on his body. How is this possible? Unless it's an eternal God King rank powerhouse, how can someone resist my myriad flowers sky-splitting formation with their fleshly body alone? Stunned, fear filled her beautiful eyes. Princess Hua Yan's figure fluttered, and she tried to escape in another direction. "Caught you." Yang Feng smiled indifferently, teleported in front of Princess Hua Yan, and slammed his claw into her chest, smashed all her resistance, and stabbed her in the chest. Then he used her as a shield to block the attacks of the dozens of children from the Spirit Eye Kingdom's greater aristocratic families. Along with a miserable scream, Princess Hua Yan was blasted apart by the dozens of experts of the Spirit Eye Kingdom. A black hole emerged and devoured Princess Hua Yan. "Your Highness! Linghua, you're despicable!" Among the dozens of experts of the Spirit Eye Kingdom, there were many who adored Princess Hua Yan. When they saw this scene, they were furious. Yang Feng smiled indifferently. As if teleporting, he rushed into the midst of the Spirit Eye Kingdom's experts, and with a casual strike, he pierced through a Spirit Eye Kingdom's expert and devoured him. Along with flashes of afterimages, as if Yang Feng is besieging the dozens of eternal sovereigns of the Spirit Eye Kingdom by himself, one powerhouse after another fell at his hands and turned into ashes. "No. Stop. I beg you, stop, don't kill me. I'm willing to do anything for you, don't kill me." A First Firmament Eternal Kingdom's noblewoman with short blonde hair, a sexy figure, and a beautiful First Firmament Eternal Kingdom's expert collapsed, knelt on the ground, burst into tears, and pleaded pitifully. Yang Feng's movements paused for a moment. With a casual strike, he blasted apart a Third Firmament Eternal powerhouse who approached him and devoured him. At this moment, afterimages flew out of the 9 eternal sovereigns of the Spirit Eye Kingdom and merged with the kingdom's eternal powerhouse. "Stop!" The eyes of the 9 eternal sovereigns shot with blood, shadows emerged, and they burned their eternal origin, exuded fearsome auras, and launched a joint attack on Yang Feng. This secret method is really vicious and powerful. Unfortunately, you chose the wrong opponent. Yang Feng smiled indifferently and sent a fist flying. The void distorted, and a fearsome vortex emerged and engulfed the attacks of the 9 eternal sovereigns and shattered them. Then, a fearsome force slammed into the 9 eternal sovereigns and blasted them apart and devoured them. A strange shadow emerged silently behind Yang Feng. Like a specter, Jiejia emerged from the shadow and stabbed silently towards Yang Feng's back with a dagger in her hand. You finally showed up. You've been traveling in an alternate space. It will take some effort to catch you. Yang Feng smiled indifferently, then an arm suddenly grew out of his back, and a claw easily crushed Jiejia's resistance and stabbed into her body. Jiejia's pretty face fell, and she pleaded mournfully, "Stop, Linghua. Spare my life. I am willing to serve you. I am willing to submit to you. The shadow goddesses are also willing to serve you as our master. Spare my life." Shadow goddesses. Well, your race is indeed worthy of being my lackey. I'll spare your life. Yang Feng flung Jiejia away, and she slammed into the ground. Zero pointed with a finger, and mechanical tentacles descended from the sky and stabbed towards Jiejia. Don't resist, or die. Yang Feng glanced at Jiejia and uttered coldly. Jiejia trembled slightly. She could only clench her teeth and let the mechanical tentacles stab into her body and implant mysterious control runes. Then you're the only ones left. Become a stepping stone for my evolution. Yang Feng turned around, smiled coldly at the remaining eternal sovereigns of the Spirit Eye Kingdom, and strode towards them. After dozens of breaths of time, almost all the children of greater aristocrats of the Spirit Eye Kingdom died. Only Mu Sha and 4 other children of greater aristocrats took the initiative to surrender and escaped death. Not long after, the news that Jiejia, the Shadow Goddess's matriarch, sneaked into the Green Leaf Maple City, assassinated the Crown Prince of the Spirit Eye Kingdom, and killed Princess Hua Yen of the Flower Goddess Kingdom, as well as the heirs of countless greater aristocrats of the Spirit Eye Kingdom, spread throughout the kingdom. Chapter 1545. Enraged, the Spirit Eye Kingdom launched a fierce attack on the winged god race in the name of revenge. Yang Feng also thought that His Highness the Crown Prince launched an attack on the winged god race in the name of revenge, captured 2 cities in one fell swoop, and killed all the winged god powerhouses in the 2 cities. It turns out that Princess Hua Yen has been controlled by Demon Lord Ziyuan. Even the entire flower god race has been infiltrated by Demon Lord Ziyuan. As expected of an invincible Holy Lord rank powerhouse. To be able to do this without entering the Dark Earth world with his true body, that's really amazing. In a city master's mansion, Yang Feng refined Princess Hua Yan's memories and immediately understood why Princess Hua Yan would frame him regardless of her reputation. Although Demon Lord Ziyuan can't come to the Dark Earth world with his true body, but his means are heaven-defying. Not only did he send countless subordinates to infiltrate the Dark Earth world, but he also spent 10,000 years to infiltrate the major races step by step. Demon Lord Ziyuan has already infiltrated 90% of the flower god race. This time, in order to eradicate Yang Feng, he used Princess Hua Yan, a precious chess piece. A guard in silver armor came to Yang Feng and said, "My lord, a eunuch from the Spirit Eye Kingdom has arrived." Yang Feng said flatly, "Tell him to come see me." The silver-armored guard replied, "Yes, my lord." Several eunuchs and a dozen-plus eternal sovereign rank guards stepped into the hall. Baron Maple Forest received the edict. A pale-faced, beardless eunuch holding an imperial edict said arrogantly to Yang Feng, "Read." Sitting on the throne, Yang Feng looked at the pale-faced, beardless eunuch and said coldly. Seeing this scene, the hearts of everyone who came to deliver the edict sank. A eunuch shouted in a shrill voice, "How dare you! This is His Majesty's imperial edict. Baron Maple Forest, why don't you kneel down and receive the edict? Do you want to rebel? You're too noisy." An indifferent look in his eyes, Yang Feng pointed with a finger, and a black ray turned into a stream of light and entered the eunuch's forehead. A bloody hole appeared on the eunuch's forehead, and blood dripped to the ground. He trembled slightly, his eyes widened, and he turned into a corpse and fell to the ground. So ruthless! This is the Silver Reaper. In the younger generation of the kingdom, he has the most military merits, and is also the most terrifying baron. How brazen! Is he ready to shed all pretense of cordiality with the kingdom? When the eunuchs and the eternal level guards who came to announce the decree saw this scene, a chill ran down their spines. Yang Feng said lightly, "Read." Yes. The eunuch's complexion was deathly pale. All of his arrogance had completely vanished. His hands were trembling as he held the imperial edict while trembling with fear. By the will of the heavens, the divine king decrees that Baron Linghua of Maple Forest has failed to protect the crown prince and princess Huayan. His title of baron is hereby stripped and he is demoted to a commoner. His fief of Maple Forest will be given to Baron Lu Yen. Yang Feng said with a faint smile, "Strip me of my aristocratic title and fief." This imperial edict is truly interesting. It seems like the spiritual I King doesn't want to let me off. However, this is also within our expectations. A handsome young man dressed in black with an extraordinary temperament gritted his teeth and said, "Linghua, I am Baron Lu Yen. As long as you give me your fief, I can plead with the divine king to spare you." Yang Feng said in a frigid tone, "Baron Lu Yen? I didn't see anyone today." On the road, the Imperial Edict announcement team was attacked by the winged god race and was wiped out. What a pity! Countless warriors dressed in transcendent armor poured out from all directions and fired destructive beams barreling towards the Imperial Edict announcement team. The existences below the Eternal Sovereign rank were blasted to pieces by the destructive beams, while the dozen-plus Eternal Sovereign rank guards cast secret methods and fled in different directions. Become nutrients for my evolution. Yang Feng got up from his seat with an indifferent look in his eyes. As if an invincible transcendent, he extended his hand. A devour rune emerged, radiated dark light, swept towards the dozen-plus Eternal Sovereign rank guards, and engulfed them. With a flash of black light, they turned into dust and scattered with the wind. Yang Feng mused quietly, "Even if I find a reasonable reason for the death of the crown prince, I can't escape the crime of negligence. With the strength I have displayed so far, I still can't make the spiritual I monarch compromise. Then I'll think of a way to enhance the strength I have displayed and force him to compromise." The Myriad Flowers Mountain Range, the headquarters of the flower god race. In the Myriad Flowers Mountain Range, there are beautiful flowers growing everywhere. There are 3 ways for flower gods to be born. The first way is to mate with other human life forms and give birth to offspring. The second way is to be born directly from flowers. The last way is to split and give birth to offspring. The countless beautiful flowers in the 10,000 Flower Mountain Range were the mother of the second birth method of the flower god clan. In the center of the Myriad Flowers Mountain Range, there is a flower god valley. In the valley, there is a sea of flowers. In the sea of flowers, there are beautiful flower gods everywhere. The flower god race was doted on by the heavens. All of the beauties of the flower god race were incomparably beautiful. Their skin was flawless, and they would be considered absolute beauties among humans. In the dark earth, flower gods are the most desired marriage partners for countless races in the dark earth. Almost all races would take pride in having a flower god race beauty as a wife. A cool breeze blew, and Yang Feng appeared and walked towards the flowery god valley. In the cool breeze, Yang Feng's scent, soul aura, and power are completely concealed, as if he has merged with the wind. In the Flower God Valley, there are more than 200 eternal sovereigns, yet no one has discovered Yang Feng's existence. Who is it? How dare you break into my Flower God Valley? As soon as Yang Feng stepped into the Flower God Valley, a magnetic and pleasant voice came from the deepest part of the valley. A peerlessly beautiful woman with a colorful wreath on her head, dressed in gorgeous floral clothes, and enveloped in a mist of flowers walked out from the deepest part of the Blossom God Valley and looked at Yang Feng as if facing a great enemy. As expected of the Flower God Patriarch, the #1 beauty in the world. Even among the beauties I have seen, she ranks in the top 5. Yang Feng smiled indifferently and waved his hand, and the wind shrouding him dispersed, revealing his true body. He quietly looked at the Flower God Patriarch. You are Baron Maple Lin Hua of the Spirit Eye Kingdom. You are not a second firmament eternal realm powerhouse. You are a seventh firmament eternal realm powerhouse. Since you dared to come here, it seems that Hua Yen died at your hands. The Crown Prince of the Spirit Eye Kingdom also died at your hands. You really have guts. No matter how much of a genius Lin Hua of the Spirit Eye Kingdom is, it is impossible for him to cross the Eternal Sovereign, Fourth Firmament Eternal Realm, and Seventh Firmament Eternal Realm in succession. You are not Lin Hua, you are an otherworldly demon. The beautiful flower god patriarch willed and immediately guessed Yang Feng's origin. Yang Feng uttered with a smile, "Otherworldly demon? Indeed, for the aboriginals of the Dark Earth world like you, I am an otherworldly demon, an enemy of yours who colluded with Demon Lord Zi. You are an enemy of Demon Lord Ziyuan? How can you cross the world barrier of the Dark Earth world? As long as the origin of the Dark Earth world isn't severely damaged, you otherworldly demon powerhouses shouldn't be able to enter our world." The pretty face of the flower god patriarch flickered, a chill welled up behind her, and she uttered slowly. Yang Feng responded calmly, "There are countless secret methods, countless powerhouses, and countless inheritances in the eternal world. What Demon Lord Ziyuan couldn't do doesn't mean that others can't. Flower God Clan leader, lead your clan to submit to me. Otherwise, all of you from Flower God Valley will die today." Lin Hua, even Demon Lord Ziyuan doesn't dare to force me like this. The pretty face of the flower god patriarch was covered with a layer of frost. She enunciated each syllable, the fragrance of flowers overflowed from her, and eternal ninth firmament rank breath slowly diffused from her. Yang Feng responded indifferently, "That's because Demon Lord Ziyuan can't come to this world in person. Otherwise, with the underlying strength of the Dark Earth world, it would be impossible to resist Demon Lord Ziyuan's army. Demon Lord Ziyuan is an invincible Holy Lord rank powerhouse, and he is one of the best among invincible Holy Lords. In the Dark Earth world, only the Wings God Monarch, the Spirit Eye Monarch, and a few other people can contend against him. In that case, let me test your ability. If you can beat me, then the flower gods will submit to you. If you lose, then you will be a slave of the flower gods for 100,000 years. After all, the flower gods can't submit to a good-for-nothing." The flower god patriarch smiled sweetly, looking like 100 flowers blooming. Yang Feng uttered with a faint smile, "Okay, it's a deal." Almost at the same time, a flower suddenly bloomed under Yang Feng's feet, and a green flower mist gushed out and swept towards Yang Feng. Devour runes appeared around Yang Feng and formed whirlpools that devoured the green flower mist. In the Flower God Valley, countless flowers bloomed, and a flower mist containing mysterious power swept towards Yang Feng. "It's a pity that your Flower God clan's secret technique is severely countered by my power." Yang Feng smiled indifferently and took a step forward. As if a black hole capable of devouring everything, he devoured the flower mist and, as if teleporting, appeared in front of the flower god patriarch in an instant and sent a fist barreling towards the flower god patriarch. Sky-splitting vine. The pretty face of the flower god matriarch flickered, and she pointed with her lily-white finger. With a flash of green light, a sky-splitting vine containing the force of the void suddenly burst out of the earth and, carrying ninth heaven eternal firmament might, whipped Yang Feng in an instant. Chapter 1546. A fearsome void blade slammed into Yang Feng and sent him flying 10,000 kilometers away, and a copious amount of blood sprinkled in the sky. "Got it." The beautiful eyes of the flower god matriarch flashed with an enigmatic gleam, and she revealed a smile of excitement. The ninth firmament eternal sky splitter vine is the strongest trump card of the flower god race as well as the parent body of the flower god matriarch. It is comparable to a holy lord rank powerhouse. Its only weakness is that it can't leave the flower god valley and go to the outside world. Those who have seen the sky splitter vine have basically all died. Except for a few people at the top of the Dark Earth world, no one knows that the flower god race is still hiding such a fearsome trump card. To be able to injure me, you do have some skill. With a flash of light, Yang Feng appeared in the void, and a deep wound extending from his right shoulder to his left abdomen appeared on his body. With a flash of black light, the wound on Yang Feng's body healed in an instant. When the flower god matriarch saw this scene, her beautiful eyes shimmered with astonishment, and she exclaimed, "How is this possible? Even the Spirit Eyes monarch and the Wings god monarch can't remain unscathed after receiving an attack from my sky splitter vine. How come your fleshly body is so powerful?" Yang Feng smiled indifferently, his eyes flashed fiercely, and his figure fluttered and he flew towards the sky splitter vine. The sky splitter vine erupted with fierce killing intent, and a void blade capable of slaying a holy lord rank powerhouse suddenly appeared and slashed towards Yang Feng. As soon as the void blade appeared, cracks spread in the void, and the whole space collapsed, filled with an aura of destruction. In the eternal world, the sky splitter vine can destroy a star with a blow. A cold look in his eyes, Yang Feng spread the fingers of a hand, and the devour mark containing his eternal essence appeared in his right hand, radiated devour black light, and swept towards the void blade. When the void blade that could slash through anything slashed at the devouring mark, it flashed and was devoured by the devouring mark. Become the fuel for my evolution. After devouring the void blade, Yang Feng appeared in front of the sky-splitting vine, smiled frigidly, pressed his hand on the sky-splitting vine, and a rune containing the essence of devour appeared on his right hand and frantically devoured the power of the sky-splitting vine. Painful sounds of resonance came from the sky-splitting vine, and Yang Feng extracted the eternal origin continuously. "Stop!" The Flower God clan leader's expression changed. She screamed and pointed with her jade-like hand. 9 blue spear flowers appeared, radiated resplendent light, tore through the sky, and stabbed towards Yang Feng. "The Flower God clan isn't good at fighting head-on. Your nature is countered by me, yet you dare to fight me head-on. How foolish!" An indifferent look in his eyes, Yang Feng sent out a fist, which pierced through the sky, shattered the 9 blue spear flowers, and mercilessly slammed into the flower patriarch. 9 beautiful 7-color flowers appeared on the flower god patriarch. The 9 beautiful 7-colored flowers exploded 9 times and completely collapsed. The patriarch of the flower god clan behind the 7-colored flower was also destroyed by the terrifying fist radiance and shattered into pieces. "Patriarch! Damn it, Linghua, you dare to kill the patriarch. I'll kill you!" When the beautiful women saw the flower god patriarch's body collapse, grief, indignation, and killing intent flashed in their beautiful eyes, and they unleashed various offensive secret methods barreling towards Yang Feng. Yang Feng's eyes shimmered with killing intent, and he uttered frigidly, "Flower god patriarch, I'm not someone who has tender feelings for the fairer sex. If your people want to die, then I'll fulfill their wish." A red flower with a diameter of 100 meters appeared in the void. It opened up a red defensive barrier and blocked all the attacks from the experts of the Flower God clan. In the center of the red flower stood a peerless beauty. It was the patriarch of the Flower God clan. The Flower God patriarch clenched her white teeth and said loudly, "Ling-A, you win. Let go of the Flower God guardian vine." "I win. Is the Flower God race willing to fulfill the terms of the bet?" Yang Feng smiled indifferently, and the devour mark on his right hand shone brightly, and its power became even more terrifying. The sky-splitting vine struggled wildly, but its eternal origin was still devoured and turned into ashes. "The Flower God race is willing to submit to you. Please stop." The Flower God patriarch gritted her teeth, knelt on the ground, bowed to Yang Feng, and retracted all her power. Originally, the Flower God race had many trump cards in the Flower God Valley. Even powerhouses like the Wing God Monarch and the Spirit Eye Monarch were apprehensive of them. But Yang Feng's fleshly body is tyrannical, and the essence of devour restrains the essence of myriad flowers of the Flower God race. The Flower God patriarch can only choose to submit. The eyes of the other beautiful women shimmered with indignation, and they knelt on the ground. Yang Feng looked at the Flower God patriarch with ridicule in his eyes, and his words exuded frigid killing intent. "Flower God patriarch, you're really smart. Originally, I was thinking that if I devoured everyone from Blossom God Valley, I would be able to become a bit stronger. Your smart choice has ruined my plan. The flower god patriarch trembled slightly. With her extraordinary perception, she could feel that Yang Feng wasn't bluffing, but really had such a plan. Yang Feng uttered coldly, "Don't resist. I'm going to set up a restriction in your bodies." Zero walked out of the void and pointed with a finger, and mechanical threads flew out and stabbed towards the beautiful women of the flower god race. There's actually another powerhouse hiding here. If we resist, I'm afraid that none of us will be able to leave the flower god valley alive. The flower god patriarch glanced at Zero, and her heart sank. Yang Feng alone is enough to crush all the powerhouses of the flower god race. Coupled with Zero, the powerhouses of the flower god race can't escape even if they want to. The flower god patriarch sighed faintly, and her beautiful eyes shimmered with unwillingness. She let the mechanical threads enter her body and form a mysterious brand. After Zero integrated with an eternal king treasure and advanced to the 9th firmament eternal realm, he has become extremely terrifying. Even eternal tyrant rank powerhouses can't escape his control. After the brand took shape inside the flower god patriarch, the flower god patriarch said lightly, "Lord, this subordinate is called Hua Yin. May I ask how I should address you?" Yang Feng replied lightly, "My name is Yang Feng. Hua Yin, immediately notify the Spirit Eye Kingdom. Tell them that a princess of the flower god race has taken a fancy to me and wants to form a marriage alliance with me. Moreover, the flower god race will officially form an alliance with the Maplewood region." Hua Yin hesitated for a while, then gritted her teeth and responded, "Yes. But bring me the most precious resources of the flower gods. I want to practice cultivation." Yang Feng left a sentence and strode towards the depths of the flower god valley. Soon, explosive news that shocked the dark earth world spread. The flower god race's first princess Hua Yu and 7th princess Hua Xiang both took a fancy to the Spirit Eye race's Baron Maplewood Lin Hua. Under the influence of the two princesses, the flower god race and the Maplewood region formed a military alliance. In an instant, Yang Feng's avatar Lin Hua became the target of envy and jealousy of more than 90% of men in the dark earth world. The Spirit Eye Kingdom, the royal palace. In a conference hall, a handsome man who looks to be only 21 or 22 years old, dressed in a royal robe, sat quietly on a throne, exuding dignity. He is the Spirit Eye monarch of the Spirit Eye Kingdom. Below the Spirit Eye monarch stand ministers from the Spirit Eye Kingdom. A duke stepped forward and said solemnly, "Your Majesty, Baron Maplewood Lin Hua has despised the kingdom and killed the Imperial Decree announcement team. He has committed a heinous crime. Your Majesty, please execute Baron Maplewood and his family." A duke retorted, "Your Majesty, don't. Baron Maplewood is now the son-in-law of two princesses of the flower god race and an ally of the flower god race. Once we punish him, we will definitely offend the flower god race. Now that we are in need of manpower, it is not appropriate to punish him. Besides, Baron Maplewood killing the Imperial Decree announcement team is complete nonsense. There is no evidence. We cannot falsely accuse a greater aristocrat. Everyone knows that Baron Maplewood killed the Imperial Decree announcement team. Duke Ma Ming, how can you not distinguish right from wrong and spout nonsense? Where's the evidence? Duke Zhouquan, do you have any evidence that Baron Maplewood killed the Imperial Decree announcement team?" One after another, dukes stepped forward and argued endlessly in the court. The princes and princesses were silent, not uttering a word. The Spirit Eye monarch swept the silent princes and princesses with a look of disgust in his eyes and said coldly, "Pass down my decree. Baron Maplewood failed to protect the crown prince. He will be fined 10 times the land tax for 3 years. Your Majesty is wise." The many ministers of the Spirit Eye Kingdom saluted the Spirit Eye monarch and said respectfully, "Court dismissed." The Spirit Eye monarch waved his hand and walked towards his study. The Spirit Eye monarch returned to his study and said coldly, "Here." A distorted light flashed and a short-haired, ordinary-looking Spirit Eye race expert appeared in front of the Spirit Eye monarch and knelt down on one knee. The Spirit Eye monarch said coldly, "Is the Crown Prince's death a conspiracy of the Winged God clan? Is his death related to Linhua?" Dark Eye said respectfully, "Your Majesty, from the current information, the Crown Prince's death is indeed related to the Winged God clan. However, his death is also closely related to Linhua. It is very likely that some of Linhua's secrets were discovered by the Crown Prince and he was killed." The Spirit Eye monarch's eyes flashed with a fierce glint and he said sternly, "Damn it! Linhua, that damned bastard. He actually dared to kill my son and the Imperial Decree announcement team. He really did not put the Spirit Eye Kingdom in his eyes. That damn traitor." Chapter 1547. In the Blossom God Valley, in a secret room, there is a fearsome whirlpool frantically devouring all the surrounding power. Countless dark elemental crystals above grade 7 flew into the whirlpool, were devoured by the whirlpool, and turned into dust that scattered with the wind. Countless mysterious runes appeared on Yangfeng's body, shrank, and entered his limbs and bones, and a seventh firmament eternal realm aura slowly diffused from him. Seventh firmament eternal realm. As expected of the Blossom God Valley, it's really rich in resources. It can actually help me advance to the seventh firmament eternal realm. In the secret room, Yang Feng opened his eyes and sensed the strength of his body, and the corners of his mouth rose into a smile. After Yang Feng's recast body advanced to the seventh firmament eternal realm, according to his own conjecture, the strength of his fleshly body has already surpassed that of an invincible Holy Lord rank powerhouse. It is only slightly inferior to the fleshly body of an eternal king. Once I advance to the eighth firmament eternal realm, my fleshly body will probably rival that of an eternal king. At the very least, it will be comparable to the fleshly body of the fallen Turo monarch. Yang Feng felt the changes in his body, and his eyes shimmered with a carefree shade. Eternal kings are the rulers of the eternal world. They are universe overlords whose forces cover countless universes and possess heaven-defying power. As long as they want to, eternal kings can destroy a universe with an energy level below 7 by themselves. The most powerful eternal king can destroy a universe with an energy level of 1 with a single strike. Hua Yin came in and said, "Lord." In a good mood, Yang Feng said with a carefree smile, "Hua Yin, are you here to deliver cultivation resources?" Hua Yin replied with a bitter smile, "Lord, you have consumed all of the cultivation resources of the Blossom God Valley. As one of the major races in the Darkland world, the Blossom God Valley has countless precious cultivation resources. But the resources Yang Feng needs to practice cultivation are as vast as mountains." Hua Yin trembled with fear as she watched Yang Feng devour those cultivation resources. Yang Feng frowned slightly and said unhurriedly, "They've been consumed? It seems that I have to make a trip to the Spirit Eye Kingdom's capital. The Darkland world is vast, but the most precious resources are in the hands of major races like the Winged God race and the Spirit Eye God race." Yang Feng attacked the flower gods in order to obtain their cultivation resources. Unfortunately, although the flower gods were one of the major races in the Darkland, but their resources could not meet Yang Feng's cultivation needs. Spiritual Eye Kingdom Imperial Capital, Spiritual Light City. Walking on the streets of the Spiritual Light City, Yang Feng was followed by a peerless beauty with an extraordinary temperament. It was the flower god patriarch Hua Yin. "So beautiful. It smells so good. This fragrance is definitely the natural fragrance of the flower god race." On the streets of Spiritual Light City, everyone, regardless of gender, was looking at Hua Yin with an intoxicated look in their eyes. Natural charm was the innate talent of the flower god clan's patriarch, Hua Yin. Even experts at the ninth heaven of the eternal realm would unknowingly develop a favorable impression of her. However, Hua Yin's charm of nature has little effect on the purple origin demon lord, the wings god monarch, the spirit eye monarch, and Yang Feng, who are ambitious and determined to advance to the eternal king rank. At most, it can leave them with a slightly favorable impression, but they won't indulge in it. Stop. This is the Spiritual Eye Royal Palace. Without a summons from His Majesty, outsiders are not allowed to enter. At the entrance of the Spiritual Eye Royal Palace, 8 guards stopped Yang Feng, and a First Heaven Eternal Realm Guard commander said solemnly. Yang Feng smiled indifferently, and 7th Heaven Eternal Realm aura erupted from him and spread in all directions. Baron Maplewood Linghua has come to challenge the God King today. A voice reverberated in the spiritual light city. 7th Heaven Eternal Realm, Linghua has advanced to the 7th Heaven Eternal Realm. This advancement speed is amazing. What fortuitous encounter did he have? He dares to challenge the Spirit Eye Monarch. When Duke Miguang sensed the 7th Heaven Eternal Realm aura, he was dumbfounded at once, and his eyes flashed with astonishment. As long as a 7th Heaven Eternal Realm powerhouse makes enough contributions in the Spiritual Eye Kingdom, they will be conferred the title of Duke and become a higher-up in the Spiritual Eye Kingdom. They will wield great power and become a tycoon. In the Spiritual Eye Kingdom's imperial court, marquises and dukes are attached to Duke and Grand Princes, forming a huge network of relationships. Duke Miguang never expected that Yang Feng would advance to the 7th Heaven Eternal Realm in such a short time. The Dean of the Spiritual Light Advanced Academy opened his eyes and looked in Yang Feng's direction, and a cold ray flashed in his eyes. 7th Heaven Eternal Realm. What a terrifying advancement speed. It seems that Linghua had a great fortuitous encounter. Unfortunately, he is too arrogant. To dare to take the Spirit Eye Monarch's trial with a mere 7th Heaven Eternal Realm cultivation base? What a fool! In the Dark Land, a world of extraordinary powerhouses, the masters of the major forces are the strongest powerhouses of the major forces. In the Spiritual Eye Kingdom, the Spirit Eye Monarch is the #1 powerhouse of the Spirit Eye race. The grandfather of the current Spirit Eye Monarch was originally a Grand Prince of the kingdom. He defeated the previous Spirit Eye Monarch and became the Spirit Eye Monarch. His family became the royal family of the Spiritual Eye Kingdom. In the Spiritual Eye Kingdom, as long as an Eternal Sovereign rank powerhouse advances to the 7th Heaven Eternal Realm, they can activate the God King Challenge trial run. After passing a series of trials, they can challenge the Spirit Eye Monarch. Of course, if the challenger fails, they must become the Spirit Eye Monarch's spirit slave and fight for the Spirit Eye Monarch forever. Even if they give birth to descendants, they will still be the Spirit Eye Monarch slaves. The current Spirit Eye Monarch is a man of great talent and great strategy. No one can match him. Moreover, the Crown Prince is equally talented. Under his guidance, he has already cultivated to the 7th Heaven Eternal Realm. If nothing unexpected happens in the future, the Crown Prince will also advance to the invincible Holy Lord Realm and smoothly inherit the Spiritual Eye Kingdom. In the Spiritual Eye Kingdom, no one dares to challenge the current Spirit Eye Monarch. Now that Yang Feng dares to challenge the Spirit Eye Monarch, this immediately alarmed the powerhouses of the Spiritual Light City. The gazes of eternal sovereigns gathered in the royal palace, wanting to see how the Spirit Eye Monarch will deal with this matter. Baron Maple Forest, Sir Flower God Patriarch, His Majesty the Divine Monarch invites you over. A handsome Spirit Eye powerhouse walked out of the royal palace, took a deep look at Yang Feng's group of 2, and said respectfully. Under the guidance of the Spirit Eye powerhouse, Yang Feng and Lin Hua passed through winding corridors and came to the meeting hall. At this time, the Spirit Eye Monarch is sitting on the throne in the meeting hall, and beside him are 11 eternal sovereigns exuding 9th Heaven Eternal Realm rank fluctuations of power. Below the 11 eternal sovereigns are the Crown Prince and Grand Prince rank powerhouses of the Spiritual Light Kingdom. Linghua, since you activated the God King Challenge trial run, then I will fulfill your wish. The first test is the Bloodline test. Only people of my Spirit Eye race can take the God King Challenge trial run. The Spirit Eye Monarch glanced at Yang Feng, smiled frigidly, his eyes filled with endless killing intent, and pointed at Yang Feng. Countless runes flickered, projections of the Spirit Eye Monarch appeared one after another, and beams of light shot out from their eyes and shone on Yang Feng. Yang Feng smiled indifferently, a sneer on the corners of his mouth, and let the Spirit Eye Monarch's projections spy on him. After a dozen plus breaths of time, the projections of the Spirit Eye Monarch disappeared. The Spirit Eye monarch's gaze changed from anticipation to disappointment along with the light from the projections of the Spirit Eye monarch. The second test is to resist the Myriad Eye Bear for 7 days in the Spirit Eye Temple. A cold look in his eyes, the Spirit Eye monarch pointed with a finger. In the reception hall, an eye appeared, shone with countless runes, and formed a huge palace. Inside the palace, there was a terrifying giant bear that was over 100 meters tall. It was covered in countless sealing chains and had eyes all over its body. The giant bear is the Myriad Eye Bear, a holy lord rank fierce beast, and the source of power of the Spirit Eye race's distant ancestor. At the time, the Spirit Eye race's distant ancestor obtained a drop of the Myriad Eye Bear's blood essence and rose step by step until he finally broke through the bloodline shackles, surpassed the Myriad Eye Bear, and suppressed it in the Spirit Eye Temple, becoming one of the underlying forces of the Spirit Eye race. To challenge the Spirit Eye monarch, the first test is to surpass the source of power of the Spirit Eye race and defeat the Myriad Eye God monarch. Otherwise, you won't be qualified to become the new Spirit Eye God monarch. In this palace, there are 11 eternal titans, but only the Spirit Eye monarch can defeat the Myriad Eye Bear. Yang Feng smiled indifferently and stepped into the palace. Countless chains shackled to the Myriad Eye Bear flew away, countless eyes opened on the Myriad Eye Bear, and fearsome fluctuations of power spread in all directions. Except for the Spirit Eye monarch, the faces of the other 11 eternal titans flickered, and they couldn't suppress the restlessness of their bloodline. If they become enemies with the Myriad Eye Bear, their strength will drop by at least 10%. The rest of the Spirit Eye race powerhouses are even more unbearable. They knelt on the ground involuntarily and shivered, resisting the call of the bloodline power inside them. So this is the Myriad Eye Bear's bloodline power. Unfortunately, it has no effect on me. With a thought, Yang Feng suppressed the restlessness of the Myriad Eye Bear's bloodline power inside him. At this moment, the countless eyes of the Myriad Eye Bear emitted strange evil light. The evil light containing evil curses capable of causing people to fall into depravity, collapse the mind, and other evil curses shot towards Yang Feng. Yang Feng's figure fluttered, and he disappeared in an instant. As if it has a life of its own, the wicked light entered the void and blasted into Yang Feng. Chapter 1548. Waves of dizziness and weakness welled up in Yang Feng's mind, causing his teleporting movement to stagnate slightly, and he floated in the void. The 10,000 Eyes Bear opened its mountain-like eyes, and a fierce scarlet glint shot out of its eyes. The power of bloodline inside it boiled, and its strength increased by several times. Suddenly, it brandished its paw, tore apart the sky, and mercilessly slapped at Yang Feng. Not bad. What a strange power. For this curse to be able to affect my movements a little, that's amazing. But this is the end. Gloomy black light flashed on Yang Feng, and he easily suppressed the curse. He sent a fist slamming into the 10,000 Eye Bear's huge paw. Boom. The palace where the 10,000 Eye Bear was sealed trembled, and the 100-meter-tall 10,000 Eye Bear was sent flying like a cannonball. Its eyes exploded one after another, and with each explosion, its power was reduced by a fraction. I'll use you to test my current strength. Yang Feng's eyes shimmered with a cold glint. The corners of his mouth rose slightly, and he took a step forward. As if teleporting, he appeared in front of the Myriad Eye Bear and punched it over and over again. The 10,000 Eye Bear desperately resisted, but its body exploded continuously, and a copious amount of blood splashed into the sky. When the blood flew out of the 10,000 Eye Bear's body, it was pulled into Yang Feng by a mysterious force and became a part of his power. Amazing! He actually completely suppressed the 10,000 Eye Bear. What a terrible monster! At the time, that one only lasted for 7 days at the hands of the 10,000 Eye Bear. The 10,000 Eye Bear looks like he's going to kill it. Shock flashed across the eyes of the various overlords of the Spirit Eye clan in the hall when they saw this. The 10,000 Eye Bear's life force was terrifying. God knows how many generations of the God Kings of the Spirit Eye race have passed, yet it still stubbornly survived. At the time, The founding ancestor of the Spirit Eye race only sealed it because its life force was too terrifying. But now, the freak 10,000-eyed divine bear was about to be beaten to death by Yang Feng, which was simply appalling. Enough. You passed the second stage. The Spirit Eye monarch's voice came from the void, and a blue ray separated Yang Feng and the myriad eye bear. The 10,000-eye bear's eyeballs cracked, and it cut a sorry figure. Using its hands and feet, it pounced back into the seal hall, grabbed the seal chains, and stabbed them into its body. The experts of the Spirit Eye race who were watching from the outside were all speechless. The myriad eye bear is ferocious. Every time it opens the God King trial by fire, it doesn't want to go back and be sealed, and it takes a lot of effort to seal it. Now that it has been forced by Yang Feng to seal itself, this is the first time. With a flash of blue light, Yang Feng appeared in the reception hall. Linghua, let's begin the third stage. Defeat me. As long as you can defeat me, you will be the new spiritual Eye King of our spiritual Eye Kingdom. If you lose to me, you will be my spiritual slave from then on. You will be at my beck and call for eternity. Even your descendants will be my slaves. It's not too late to give up now. A cold ray flashed in the eyes of the Spirit Eye monarch, and he stared at Yang Feng and uttered frigidly. Invincible Holy Lord rank fluctuations of power slowly spread from him. Yang Feng said flatly, Spirit Eye monarch, you're actually advising me to give up the challenge? Are you afraid? Linghua, I just don't want to see Earl Guangyang's family sink. Since you want to court death, then I'll fulfill your wish. With a flash of frigid killing intent in his eyes, the Spirit Eye monarch pointed with a finger, and blue light flashed and enveloped the reception hall. In an instant, the reception hall turned into a vast celestial body. Yang Feng and the Spirit Eye monarch appeared in a desert. Behind Yang Feng and the Spirit Eye monarch, there are 11 eternal realm powerhouses and the Spirit Eye Kingdom's powerhouses. Spirit Eye God Slayer Art. Killing intent flashed in the eyes of the Spirit Eye monarch, countless runes shone on him, and eyes emerged on his body and looked at Yang Feng with creepy fluctuations of power. Wicked light pierced through the sky, distorted everything, and barreled towards Yang Feng. This spell has no effect on me. Yang Feng smiled coldly and sent a palm barreling towards the weird demonic light. The strange light twisted strangely. Part of it was blasted away by Yang Feng, while the other part turned into a rain of light that hit Yang Feng. In an instant, Yang Feng felt the world spin, his senses distorted, and he felt as if he was in a distorted and chaotic spacetime. He saw countless strange fragments, and his thoughts seemed to be distorted. Although my Spirit Eye race originates from the myriad eye bear, but successive generations of God Kings have surpassed the myriad eye bear. Spirit Eye God Slayer Art is even more invincible. A mere trash who obtained a fortuitous encounter outside the starry sky dares to challenge me. How overconfident! The Spirit Eye monarch smiled coldly and slashed at Yang Feng with a giant sword in his hand. A black sword ray emerged and cut open space, and a fearsome crack appeared in the world and extended downwards and mercilessly slashed at Yang Feng. A bone-deep wound appeared on Yang Feng's body, and a copious amount of blood sprayed into the sky. But in the next moment, an incredible scene took place. A copious amount of blood has just flown out when it entered Yang Feng's body, and the bone-deep wound healed in a breath of time. How is this possible? How can his fleshly body be so strong? I have the God Slayer sword in my hand. Once a wound is cut by the God Slayer sword, even the Wing God Monarch will find it difficult to heal. The Spirit Eye Monarch's eyes shimmered with astonishment, and he slashed at Yang Feng with his sword. Fearsome sword rays slashed at Yang Feng and cut his fleshly body, revealing white jade-like bones. No matter how the Spirit Eye Monarch slashed at him, the wounds on Yang Feng's body healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. What a fearsome fleshly body! This is the effect of the Spirit God Body Tempering Art. No! This is an effect that surpasses the Spirit God Body Tempering Art. What a fearsome secret method! What a fearsome fleshly body! When the 11 Eternal Titans saw this scene, their scalps turned numb. The God Slayer sword is the most fearsome eternal treasure in the Spirit Eye Kingdom. None of the 11 eternal titans dared to let it slash them. Now that Yang Feng has been slashed 180 times, yet his fleshly body is still healing. This is simply terrifying. No matter what method of healing, it will consume power. Let's see how long you can heal yourself. A cold ray flashed in the Spirit Eye Monarch's eyes, and he brandished his sword and slashed out 1,000 times in an instant, which turned into violent sword images that swept at Yang Feng. A copious amount of flesh and blood splashed out of Yang Feng's body, and then was minced by the remaining sword images. Amazing! To be able to weaken me for so long, that's the Spirit Eye God Slayer art for you. Amazing! Your Majesty God Monarch, I underestimated you before. Unfortunately, you're doomed to die here today. Yang Feng, who looks like a human skeleton, opened his eyes, and mysterious runes appeared on his jade-like bones. Yang Feng revealed a smile that looks like a skeleton's evil grin. Afterimages flickered, and he appeared in front of the Spirit Eye Monarch with a teleportation. With a claw, he smashed the Spirit Eye Monarch's layers of barriers and slammed into the Spirit Eye Monarch's body. Ding! A strange sound rang, and the Spirit Eye Monarch's body collapsed, turned into an afterimage, and disappeared. In the place where he originally stood, there is a broken bead. As expected of the Spirit Eye Monarch, you really have a death substitution secret method. Unfortunately, you're doomed to die at my hands today. Yang Feng smiled coldly, then teleported, appeared in the void, and slammed his claw into the void and pierced through the Spirit Eye Monarch who has just formed. The Spirit Eye Monarch's body split apart again, turned into countless fragments, and a broken bead appeared again. Let's see how many times you can die in my place. With a cold smile, Yang Feng turned into an afterimage, extended his claw into the void, and pierced through the Spirit Eye Monarch's body again. Linghua, you want to kill me by yourself? Go to hell. The eyes of the Spirit Eye Monarch flickered fiercely, then he roared, forcibly condensed his bloodline force, and slashed at Yang Feng with his sword. A fearsome sword ray more than 10 times stronger than before slashed towards Yang Feng. A cold look in his eyes, Yang Feng smiled frigidly. Without dodging, he suddenly shot out and sent a claw towards the Spirit Eye Monarch. Boom! Along with a loud noise, Yang Feng's left shoulder was cut, and his bones were crushed. His right claw stabbed into the Spirit Eye Monarch. Yang Feng smiled coldly, and the Devour mark in his right hand erupted in an instant, stuck to the Spirit Eye Monarch, and frantically devoured the Spirit Eye Monarch's eternal origin. Essence of Devour. Your core essence is the essence of Devour, not our Spirit Eye race's essence of the Spirit Eye. There was a flash of shock in the eyes of the Spirit Eye Monarch. Eyes emerged on the Spirit Eye Monarch's body and shot evil rays at Yang Feng. Unfortunately, since you know my essence, then I don't have to hide it anymore. Yang Feng smiled coldly, and a Devour rune appeared around him, radiated dark Devour light, and devoured the evil light. Let's die together. The eyes of the Spirit Eye Monarch shimmered fiercely, countless fluctuations emerged from his body, and he expanded by a size. Chapter 1549. Perish together? You've missed the best opportunity to perish together. Yang Feng smiled coldly, the Devour mark on his right hand shone brightly, and fearsome Devour force erupted in an instant. The Spirit Eye Monarch trembled slightly, and a tremendous amount of power was devoured in an instant. The power entered Yang Feng's body, and he turned into a mummy. No. How could this be? Shock flashed in the eyes of the Spirit Eye Monarch, and he issued a miserable scream. His body trembled slightly, and then he turned into ashes that scattered with the wind. He's dead. The new Spirit Eye Monarch was born. The eyes of the Eternal World bigwigs in the reception hall shimmered with shock, and they fell silent. Even the eyes of the few bigwigs closest to the Spirit Eye Monarch dimmed, and they didn't dare to say a word. Yang Feng killed the predecessor's Spirit Eye Monarch head-on. He has passed the Spirit Eye Monarch's trial by fire and is now the #1 powerhouse of the Spirit Eye race. If the other Eternal World bigwigs turn against him, they will be easily suppressed by Yang Feng. There was a flash of light, and everyone returned to the Spirit Eye Temple. Under everyone's gaze, Yang Feng climbed the throne of the Spirit Eye Temple, sat down, and looked at the many powerhouses below with an indifferent look in his eyes. His Majesty the Divine King is eternal. An eternal world bigwig bowed his head and said to Yang Feng in salute. His Majesty the Divine King is eternal. As soon as this statement came out, all the powerhouses in the reception hall lowered their heads respectfully. Soon after, the voices of the Divine King ascending the throne came from the palace and spread to all the forces belonging to the Spirit Eye race. The Spirit Eye monarch has died. Ling Hua actually became the new Spirit Eye monarch. How is that possible? How could that silk pants succeed in the challenge and become the new Spirit Eye monarch? When the Dean of the Spiritual Light Academy heard the bell, the jade cup in his hand fell to the ground and shattered, and his eyes filled with incredulity. Ling Hua is a very common silk pants of greater aristocrats in the Spiritual Light Academy. The Dean of the Spiritual Light Academy never expected that the silk pants he has always looked down on would grow to this point in such a short period of time. To challenge the Spirit Eye Monarch successfully, he became the new Spirit Eye Monarch. Spirit Eye Monarch. That stinking brat actually became the Spirit Eye Monarch. I really misjudged him. If I had known this would happen, I would have made him my son-in-law. What a shame. What a pity. When Duke Miguang heard the bell, he was dumbstruck, his face contorted with surprise and regret. At that time, he already had the thought of marrying Mu Sha to Yang Feng, but he still chose to respect his daughter's choice. If Duke Miguang had known that Yang Feng could become the new Spirit Eye monarch, he would have given her to Yang Feng even if he had to go against Mu Sha's wishes. However, although he was optimistic about Yang Feng, but he was also optimistic about Ling Juekong and wanted to bet on both sides. Coupled with various reasons, he didn't do so. But now, he was extremely regretful. Almost at the same time, a fearsome aura of a powerhouse breaking through the eternal realm spread in all directions from the Fathoming Light Advanced College Dark Origin Tower. Ha! I finally broke through to the eternal realm. Linghua, just you wait. I must kill you within 10 years. Only then will I be able to vent the hatred in my heart. Ling Juekong laughed heartily. His brows were filled with joy. Ling Juekong is extraordinarily talented and has had fortuitous encounters. In just a few years, he has advanced from the holy step to the eternal step. This cultivation speed is heaven-defying in the Spirit Eye Kingdom. At this moment, a blue bracelet in Ling Juekong's right hand flashed, and he waved his hand and said with a high-spirited smile, "What's the matter, Mue?" Mue's frightened and desperate voice came from the blue bracelet. "Big brother Juekong, Linghua has passed the Spirit Eye Monarch's trial by fire and has become the new Spirit Eye Monarch." What? The new Spirit Eye Monarch? How is that possible? With him, that trash. How can he become the new Spirit Eye Monarch? As if struck by lightning, Ling Juekong trembled, his mind wavered, fear, despair, madness, and other negative forces surged inside him, causing him to spit out a large mouthful of blood and faint. The Spirit Eye race's holy land, in front of the God King Pagoda. The God King Pagoda is finally in my hands. Looking at the God King Pagoda, the corners of Yang Feng's mouth rose slightly, and he stepped into the God King Pagoda. Countless mysterious runes appeared in the God King Pagoda, and a tremendous amount of black mist surged towards Yang Feng. How wonderful! The Dark Earth Monarch's origin force here is more than 10 times that of the Flower God Valley. I hope that the Dark Earth Monarch's origin force here can help me advance to the 9th Firmament Eternal Step. I hope that I can construct a powerful fleshly body comparable to that of an Eternal Monarch. Yang Feng looked at the tremendous amount of black mist and raised the corners of his mouth. Countless mysterious devour runes appeared on his body and frantically devoured the black mist converging from all directions. In the God Wings City. What? Linghua killed the Spirit Eye Monarch and became the new Spirit Eye Monarch. How is this possible? The Spirit Eye Monarch was at his peak, so how could Linghua kill him? Tell me, is this information false? The Wings God Monarch looked at a guard kneeling on the ground and asked frigidly. The guard kneeling on the ground broke out in a cold sweat. "Your Majesty, this information is absolutely true." We have confirmed the authenticity of this information through more than a dozen methods. The Wings God monarch was silent for a while with a cold look in his eyes, and then said frigidly, "Withdraw." "Your Majesty." The guards saluted respectfully and quickly withdrew. Linghua is just an ordinary silk pants. Even if he received the support of the extraterrestrial civilization, how could he evolve so quickly? Demon Lord Yin, did you do something to him? With a frigid look in his eyes, the Wings God monarch pointed with a finger, ripples flickered, and a projection of Demon Lord Ziyun appeared in the palace. On one hand, Demon Lord Ziyun cooperated with the Wings God monarch to support the winged race and carry out various transactions with them. But on the other hand, he used various means to erode the Dark Earth world. In the Dark Earth world, who knows how many people are Demon Lord Ziyun's pawns and puppets? The Wings God monarch naturally knows this. However, he is confident that he can suppress everything, which is why he colluded with Demon Lord Ziyun. A dignified look in his eyes, the Demon Lord Ziyun uttered slowly, "No. Linghua is not a pawn of mine. I don't have a pawn that can kill the Spirit Eye Monarch. If I'm not mistaken, it should be my mortal enemy Yang Feng's true body that infiltrated your world. Only a monster like Yang Feng, who is an amazing talent in the eternal world, can slay the Spirit Eye Monarch in such a short time." A cold look in his eyes, the Wings God monarch uttered frigidly, "Didn't you say that even eternal monarchs cannot break into our Dark Earth world?" The Demon Lord Ziyun uttered flatly, "There are as many powerhouses in the eternal world as there are clouds in the sky, and they have countless strange secret methods. At the same time, there are also countless rare treasures and many strange existences. Just because eternal monarchs are powerless doesn't mean that other eternal sovereigns are powerless." The Wings God monarch's eyes flickered, and he asked unhurriedly, "What should we do now?" The Demon Lord's eyes flickered with gloomy light, and he uttered frigidly, "Attack the Spirit Eye race at all costs. We can't let Yang Feng use the Spirit Eye race's resources to practice cultivation and develop. Otherwise, once he fully matures, the entire Dark Earth world will become his." The Wings God monarch's eyes shimmered with ridicule, and he uttered with a frigid smile, "That's a good proposal." "What a good proposal! Do you want me and Yang Feng to fight to the death, and then turn the Winged God race into your puppet?" The Demon Lord Ziyuan's eyes flickered, and he uttered solemnly, "Then, Wings God monarch, are you going to watch Yang Feng lead the Spirit Eye race to annex the Dark Earth world? Once the Spirit Eye race rules the Dark Earth world, your Winged God race will die without a burial ground." The Wings God monarch replied unhurriedly, "No. If Linghua is a real Spirit Eye race member, then our Winged God race will indeed die without a burial ground. But Linghua is an ambitious and ruthless person in the outside world. As long as I surrender sincerely, he will surely accept our Winged God race. After all, he is also an ambitious and ruthless person who aspires to the position of eternal monarch. Naturally, the more subordinates he has, the better." The Demon Lord Ziyun was silent for a while, and then suddenly said with a smile, "Wings God monarch, you are not someone who is willing to be a subordinate, so how can you be willing to submit to Yang Feng? Don't waste any more time. For this battle, the two of us will form an alliance. The two of us will form an alliance, and I swear that I will mobilize all my pawns in the Dark Earth world to cooperate with you to kill the Spirit Eye race. How about it?" The Wings God monarch smiled indifferently, exuded a domineering aura, and said decisively, "All right." Once the Purple Origin Demon Lord and the Winged God King reached an agreement, the Winged God race immediately began to move. A few days later, the Winged God race launched an all-out attack on the territory of the Spirit Eye race. The Spirit Eye race is currently in the process of replacing the old and the new God monarchs. Under the all-out attack of the Winged God race, the Spirit Eye race suffered heavy losses and retreated in defeat. At this time, the allies of the Spirit Eye race, the Dog God race, the Dragon God race, and the Pegasus race, betrayed the alliance and ruthlessly stabbed the Spirit Eye race in the back, causing the Spirit Eye race to suffer a crushing defeat. Among the Spirit Eye race, countless powerhouses suddenly surrendered to the Winged God race without any warning, causing the Spirit Eye race's defensive lines to collapse one after another. After the winged god race, the dog god race, the dragon god race, and the Pegasus race defeated the main forces of the Spirit Eye race, they ignored the remaining forces of the Spirit Eye race, converged, and attacked the Spirit Light City. The four races joined forces, and even the patriarchs of the four races personally went into battle. With peerless power, they defeated one stronghold after another of the Spirit Eye race and advanced towards the Spirit Light City. In just 1 month, the allied forces of the four races flattened all the strongholds around the Spirit Light City and got closer and closer to the Spirit Light City. Chapter 1550. At the foot of the Spiritual Light City Royal Palace's God King Pagoda sat a tall and burly middle-aged man. This middle-aged man was one of the Spirit Eye clan's eternal giants, Ling Wuheng. Who is it? Ling Wuheng suddenly opened his eyes and looked into the distance. A trace of seriousness flashed through his eyes as he said coldly, "It's me." A Spirit Eye powerhouse who looked like a handsome youth walked out of the shadows. Behind him were more than 1,000 eternal sovereigns. Ling Wuheng furrowed his brows slightly and said in a cold voice, "Ling Bo Lan, you actually brought along the Divine King's personal guards. Are you trying to rebel? Ling Hua has passed the God King trial and is the rightful successor of our Spirit Eye race. He is the only God King. Your ancestor also passed the Godly King trial and killed the former Godly King before ascending to the position of Godly King. This is the tradition of our Spirit Eye race." Ling Bo Lan said coldly, "Ling Wuheng, if Ling Hua was really him, then his God King's legitimacy would be unassailable. We should naturally worship him as our king. But what if Ling Hua isn't himself but an extraterrestrial devil in disguise?" Ling Wuheng's soul was shaken, and he cried out involuntarily, "How is that possible? The divine eyes of the past divine kings have verified that Ling Hua is indeed of the Spirit Eye race's bloodline. Otherworldly sky fiends have as many experts as the clouds. There's even an invincible and indestructible existence like the Eternal King. He naturally has the power to hide from the godly kings of the Spirit Eye race." Ling Wuheng, an ordinary hedonistic son of a rich family, was able to defeat the Spiritual Eye monarch in less than 100 years. This kind of advancement speed is abnormal. Have you never doubted it? Ling Bo Lan's gaze was icy cold as he spoke in a frosty voice. Ling Wuheng was silent. He naturally suspected Yang Feng's identity. However, the projection of the divine eyes of past primary monarchs has proved that Yang Feng has the bloodline of the Spirit Eye race, which dispelled their concerns. Now that Ling Bo Lan brought up this topic, his heart began to waver. Ling Wuheng was silent for a while before he slowly said, "Ling Bo Lan, Ling Hua is after all the Spirit Eye King. Now that the winged god race is being overbearing and has surrounded the city, if we continue to have internal strife, it will only lead to the extinction of the Spirit Eye race. You don't have to worry about that, Ling Wuheng. The Winged God King has already offered us a price as long as we can kill Ling Hua. The allied forces of the four races would immediately retreat. Furthermore, sign a 50-100-year non-aggression treaty with our Solai tribe and return the territory of our Solai kingdom." An eternal giant walked out from the shadows and slowly said. One after another, eternal overlords walked out from the shadows, quietly looking at Ling Wuheng. Apart from Ling Wuheng, the other 11 eternal titans are now standing opposite Yang Feng. An eternal giant coldly said, "Get out of the way, Ling Wuheng." "Ling Shuanghua, since you've already made your decision, I won't stop you. However, all of you made the wrong choice. I will not make an enemy of you, nor will I make an enemy of him, because that is too stupid." Ling Wuheng smiled bitterly and stepped aside, revealing the path to the God King Pagoda. The hearts of the Spirit Eye clan's powerhouses trembled slightly when they heard this. The Spirit Eye race finally has someone who understands. Indifferent laughter rang out in the space there. A streak of black light shot out from the Tower of God Kings, condensing into a black staircase. Emitting black light, Yang Feng stood on the other side of the black staircase and looked coldly at the 10 Spirit Eye Eternal Titans. When the 10 Spirit Eye Eternal Titans saw Yang Feng emitting black light, a creepy feeling welled up inside them, as if they have met a natural enemy. Do you want to betray me and betray the Spirit Eye race? In that case, I will grant you death. Yang Feng looked at the 10 Spirit Eye Eternal Titans with cold light in his eyes, and he smiled coldly. With a flash of queer light, Yang Feng's true body appeared behind an eternal giant, smashed the other party's barrier with a hand, and stabbed into the other party's body. A devour mark appeared, and a black light swept out and devoured the Eternal Realm powerhouse. Kill him. Do it. Kill him. There was a flash of fear in Ling Bulin's eyes, and he bellowed, opened his eyes, and countless eyes converged to form a strange demonic eye that looked at Yang Feng. A gloomy, distorted demonic eye light shot towards Yang Feng. The remaining 8 Eternal Titans unleashed offensive secret methods and barreled towards Yang Feng. Yuans, do you really think that I'm afraid of your Spirit Eye God Slayer art? The corners of Yang Feng's mouth rose into a smile of derision, and devour marks appeared on him, distorted the void, and devoured everything. When the demonic eye ray that can distort souls slammed into Yang Feng, it was immediately devoured by the devour marks. Yang Feng took a step forward, and afterimages appeared in front of the Spirit Eye Eternal Titans. One after another, Yang Feng's claw pierced through and devoured the Spirit Eye Eternal Titans. Stop. Your Majesty the Divine King, I just want to ask you. No, Your Majesty the Divine King, I surrender. The eyes of the Eternal Titans shimmered with regret. They had just spoken, when Yang Feng smashed their defenses and killed them. In just dozens of breaths of time, black light swept out, and only the 2 Eternal Titans Ling Wuheng and Ling Bolin remained. Ling Hua, no, you're not Ling Hua. You're Yang Feng, the mortal enemy of the Purple Origin Demon Lord, Yang Feng. Damn it, we were deceived by you. Yang Feng, don't kill me. I'm willing to surrender and submit to you. I'll serve you, but don't kill me. As long as I'm alive, my entire clan will serve you and be at your beck and call. Ling Bolin's face changed several times, and then he finally knelt on the ground and begged bitterly. A cold look in his eyes, Yang Feng sent a claw piercing through Ling Bolin's body, and a devour black hole appeared and devoured Ling Bolin. Ling Wuheng, they rebelled against me. Why don't you rebel against me? After Yang Feng devoured Ling Bolin, he turned to look at Ling Wuheng with a knife-like gaze and said with a faint smile. Ling Wuheng replied respectfully, Your Majesty is extraordinarily strong. You are the supreme god of the Spirit Eye race. I, Ling Wuheng, am willing to contribute my meager strength to your cause, Your Majesty. Yang Feng laughed heartily. Good. Seeing that you're sensible, I won't kill you. From today on, you are the Prime Minister of the Spirit Eye Kingdom. You will take care of trivial matters for me. Ling Wuheng replied, Thank you, Your Majesty. However, the 4-race coalition army has already besieged the Spirit Eye Kingdom. Please tell me how to deal with it, Your Majesty. I'll advance a rank first. Yang Feng smiled indifferently. Countless mysterious runes appeared on his body, tremendous eternal force pervaded his body, and the devour runes inside him evolved again. In Yang Feng's body, the white jade-like bones began to become more and more resplendent, and they merged with the devour runes. A terrifying power fluctuation of the 8th heaven of the Eternal Realm spread out in all directions. As soon as Ling Wuheng sensed Yang Feng's aura, his body and soul trembled slightly, and incredulity flashed in his eyes. So scary. Is this the power of the 8th firmament Eternal Realm? Why do I feel that this power far surpasses my own, and even surpasses the power of the previous generation's primary god? Are the eternal world's powerhouses so terrifying and heaven-defying? In the eternal world, ordinary 8th firmament Eternal Realm powerhouses are indeed slightly stronger than the Dark Earth world's powerhouses, but they haven't reached the point where they can contend against the Dark Earth world's eternal giants. However, Yang Feng used countless secret methods as a reference and used the bones of eternal God Emperors and his own Devour essence as the core to create the God Emperor secret method. This extraordinary secret method is cultivated with the origin force of an eternal God King. Its power is naturally heaven-defying, far surpassing that of other eternal sovereigns. Yang Feng smiled faintly, his eyes shone coldly, and he uttered slowly, Okay. since I have advanced a rank. Then it's time for the four-race coalition army to die. The four-race coalition army's headquarters on the outskirts of the spiritual light city. The winged god monarch looked at the spiritual light city from afar with enigmatic light in his eyes, and he uttered unhurriedly, "The rebellion in the spiritual light city has begun. Heed my order. Attack at once." Wait, winged god monarch, isn't it a bit too early to attack now? When two tigers fight, one is bound to be injured. If we attack now, I'm afraid that Ling Bolan and the others will collude with Ling Hua. Besides, the spirit well boundary has not been opened yet. If we attack the spiritual light city, the casualties will be too high. The eyes of a burly and handsome dog patriarch with dog ears and a dog tail behind him shimmered gravely, and he uttered solemnly, "That's right. If we attack now, we won't do it." The Pegasus patriarch with the upper body of a human and the lower body of a horse also spoke indifferently. The dragon patriarch with a pair of dragon horns on his head remained silent and just stared at the winged god monarch. The winged god monarch uttered coldly, "Even in the eternal world, the otherworldly demon Yangfeng is an extraordinarily talented existence who can contend against the purple origin demon lord. He is proficient in the essence of devour. Once he is given time to grow, he will grow to an incredible level. If we don't attack now, do you want to become bait for his evolution in the future?" The dog god patriarch uttered indifferently, "No matter how strong Yangfeng is, he won't change much in one day. Of course, it's not impossible to attack by force. However, the winged god race has to be the main force, while the other three races can assist." The other two race patriarchs nodded in agreement. The winged god race is too powerful. If the spirit eye race is razed to the ground, almost no one can restrain the winged god race. The winged god clan was practically invincible. To the other three god clans, the best outcome would be for both the winged god clan and the spirit eye clan to suffer heavy losses. Chapter 1551. Okay. With a gloomy expression on his face, the winged god monarch weighed the pros and cons before saying coldly. After the four god monarchs reached an agreement, the four races' legions finally set out. With the winged god race as the main force, they flew towards the spiritual light city like ants. Above the spirit light city, the experts of the Spirit Eye clan unleashed a secret technique. Eyes containing various extraordinary powers, such as curses, blessings, misfortune, corrosion, and poison, appeared in the void and shot towards the experts of the four god clans. Under the barrage of the divine eyes, the barriers protecting hundreds and thousands of winged god race powerhouses collapsed, and they were killed. When the winged god race elite legion approached the spiritual light city, a dense swarm of demonic eyes suddenly opened on the spiritual light city's city wall. The demonic eyes shot out a gray light that swept towards the winged god race's experts. The numerous winged god race's experts were like broken-winged angels. They fell from the sky and fell to the ground, their bodies covered in the gray light of the curse. The offensive secret methods unleashed by the winged god race powerhouses have just been launched, when they were swept by the gray light and weakened by more than 70%. They only managed to kill some of the weaker spirit eye powerhouses. In the Dark Earth world, every city is a stronghold that is easy to defend and difficult to attack. If the purple original demon hadn't used his countless hidden chess pieces, even the four races' allied forces wouldn't have been able to break through the Spirit Eye strongholds so easily and reach this place. Activate the siege beasts. The winged god monarch said coldly, a gloomy look in his eyes. The huge winged god race army behind the winged god race army split up. Four monstrous siege beasts walked out from behind the winged god race. They were 1,000 meters tall, as thick as elephants, and had ferocious heads like dragons. Their thick tails were like meteors. As soon as the four siege beasts appeared, countless beams of light barreled towards the four siege beasts. When the beams of light slammed into the four siege beasts, they didn't even break through their black scales. These are the winged god race's weapons against cities, siege beasts. If it weren't for their sluggish movement and resource consumption, virtually no one would be their opponent. The three god monarchs gazed at the four siege beasts with apprehension in their eyes. The 4 siege beasts are fearsome beasts that the winged god monarch nurtured using all kinds of precious secret treasures and resources after obtaining the purple original demon lord's knowledge. They have astonishing defense and even more terrifying offensive power. Their only weakness is their lack of intelligence and their sluggish movement. They can only be used to siege cities. Many of the Spirit Eye clan's forts were forcefully breached by the 4 siege beasts after withstanding countless attacks. Activate Spirit Eye Monarch Light. On the city wall, a spiritual eye prince gritted his teeth and barked. God Monarch Spirit Monarchs gritted his teeth and barked. Figures of past god kings of the Spirit Eye clan directly appeared one after another as they opened their extremely strange demonic eyes. The strange demonic eyes condensed into one, and a terrifying pulse of energy that could even cause god kings to tremble appeared from the demonic eye. A gray beam shot out from the eye and slammed into the body of the siege beast. The 2 siege beasts were instantly swept by the gray pillar of light and crumbled, turning into dust and disappearing. The other 2 siege beasts were swept by the gray light beam and their bodies crumbled inch by inch, disappearing from their waists. After the gray pillar of light disappeared, the 2 missing heads of the siege beasts wriggled, and the 2 strange heads quickly regenerated. After the 2 siege beasts regenerated, they pounced on the corpses of the experts of the various races outside the spiritual light city and chewed on them. Every time they devoured a corpse, the aura of the siege beasts would increase. The attacks of the countless powerhouses above the spiritual light city bombarded the bodies of the 2 siege beasts, creating wounds of various sizes. However, they were unable to kill them. The Spirit Eye Monarch Light has been consumed. It has a cooldown time of 2 hours. Let's attack together. The winged god monarch stared at the spiritual light city, an ominous premonition flashing in his eyes. The Spirit Eye Monarch Light is one of the trump cards of the Spirit Eye race, and it is their strongest offensive secret method. Even the number 1 expert in the Dark Earth world, the winged god monarch, wouldn't dare to face it head-on. However, its weakness is that it can only be used once, and its cooldown time is more than 2 hours. Okay. The other 3 primary monarchs nodded in agreement. 53 eternal powerhouses of the Winged God Clan, Hound God Clan, Dragon God Clan, and Pegasus God Clan flew out, followed by elite eternal legions. They unleashed all kinds of secret techniques and blasted towards Spiritual Light City. Above the Spiritual Light City, the dusky light formed layers of defensive boundaries to resist the attacks of the Eternal Realm powerhouses. Boom, boom. Earth-shattering explosions rang out incessantly, and the eyeballs on the walls of the Spiritual Light City exploded one after another. Originally, if there were eternal sovereigns presiding over the Spiritual Light City's city wall, they would be able to resist the siege of the 53 eternal sovereigns of the 4 races. However, with the Spirit Eye race's eternal sovereigns besieging Yangfeng, there is no one presiding over the Spiritual Light City's city wall. As a result, the Spiritual Light City's city wall trembled, the demonic eyes exploded, and the defensive barrier weakened. The allied forces of the 4 races turned into streams of light and attacked the city walls, clashing with the experts of the Spirit Eye clan on the city walls. As soon as the battle began, the entire Spirit Eye race legion showed signs of collapse. At this time, the Spirit Eye race's eternal sovereigns should have taken action to boost morale. However, none of them took action, making the Spirit Eye race's powerhouses feel like they have been abandoned. I am Linghua, your monarch. I'm here. A voice sounded in the Spiritual Light City. In an instant, the countless adjudicators hidden in the Spiritual Light City formed a mechanical torrent that shot towards the allied army of the 4 races on the battlefield. In the wake of the mechanical torrent formed by the adjudicators with holy step battle prowess, the allied army of the 4 races was chopped to pieces. 50,000 elite troops directly under Yangfeng's command wearing transcendent armor and wielding destruction artilleries also threw themselves into the battle. The destruction artilleries in their hands roared and shot at the eternal sovereigns of the 4 races. Along with flashes of golden light, a golden cloud appeared above the Spiritual Light City. Yangfeng calmly slashed at the cloud. Radiating golden light, He looked like an invincible demon god overlooking the ants below. "Your Majesty!" "It's His Majesty the Divine King. His Majesty the Divine King is with us." On the city wall, the Spirit Eye race army, which was on the verge of collapse, reversed its decline. The allied army of the four races suffered heavy casualties under the siege of Yang Feng's mechanical legion. The morale of the Spirit Eye race soldiers soared, and they looked at Yang Feng with worship in their eyes. Sure enough, they failed. Those good-for-nothings. The Wings God Monarch looked at Yang Feng standing quietly in the clouds, his heart sank, and he cursed. The Dragon God Monarch said with a cold smile, "No. We're going to win this time." Although the rebellion of those good-for-nothings failed, but the Spirit Eye race's eternal sovereigns were also wiped out. We only have to deal with Yang Feng. No matter how strong he is, against the four of us, only death awaits him. At this moment, Yang Feng suddenly smiled at the four god monarchs and pointed with a finger. 20 warships with a diameter of 1,000 kilometers appeared above the spiritual light city. Countless cannons extended out and shot out a dense rain of light, blasting the elite troops of the four godly monarchs. The elite legions of the four god clans were wiped off the face of the earth as if someone had used a rag to wipe them off the face of the earth. In an instant, over 100,000 soldiers below the Saint Realm were killed and turned into ashes. There was a fierce flash in the Dragon God Monarch's eyes, and he roared and suddenly flew out. When he arrived in the middle of his army, he activated a barrier and stared at the artillery barrage. The two God Monarchs, the Dog God Monarch and the Sky Horse God Monarch, flew back to their elite army and activated a barrier to resist the attack of the 20 warships. "Extinguish!" A fierce flash in his eyes, the Wings God Monarch spread the fingers of a hand, countless mysterious runes flickered, and the feathers on his back flew out and turned into countless arrows of light that stabbed towards the 20 eternal warships. When the countless arrows of light slammed into the gray barrier of the spiritual light city wall, they easily penetrated the barrier and barreled towards the 20 eternal warships. "It's no use. You're all doomed to die here. How about this? I'll give you a chance to live. Give me the severed head of the Wings God Monarch, and I'll give you 3 races a chance to live." A cold look in his eyes, Yang Feng extended a hand, and a terrifying black hole emerged and devoured the arrows of light. The 20 eternal warships flashed, and countless secondary artilleries shone and fired at the allied army of the 4 races. Even though the allied army of the 4 races has activated a barrier, but they are still swept by the beams of light like insects, exploding or vaporizing. Attracted by Yang Feng's devour essence, the souls and origin of the slain 4 races' powerhouses entered his body and became nutrients for his evolution. Siege beasts! There was a fierce flash in the Wings God Monarch's eyes, and he waved his hand, and 2 green crystals turned into 2 streams of light that entered the 2 siege beasts that are healing themselves. When the 2 siege beasts absorbed the 2 green crystals, their flesh squirmed, and they healed themselves in an instant. They even exuded a more powerful aura than before. Chapter 1552. As soon as the 2 siege beasts recovered their full strength, they charged towards the city wall again. With a thought from Yang Feng, the main artillery of the 20 eternal warships flashed, and a destructive beam capable of annihilating a 7th firmament eternal powerhouse shot out and slammed into the 2 siege beasts in an instant. Large holes were blasted open on the 2 siege beasts in an instant. Then, green light flashed, and they healed in an instant. Yang Feng's eyes flickered, and he took a step forward. His figure blurred, and he appeared in front of the 2 siege beasts. He spread the fingers of a hand, and 2 black holes appeared and swept towards the 2 siege beasts, engulfed them, and frantically devoured their life origin. This is a wisp of the Dark Earth Monarch's eternal true spirit. Only by containing the purest life force could one be reborn continuously. Unfortunately, its rank is too high. Except for monsters like the siege beasts and powerhouses with devour essence like me, no one else can use the wisp of the Dark Earth Monarch's eternal true spirit. Yang Feng looked at the 2 siege beasts struggling in the devour black hole with a look of pleasant surprise in his eyes. A wisp of the Eternal King's eternal true spirit can be sold for a sky-high price in the eternal world. Even a terrifying existence like the Eternal King will compete for it. Only in the dark earth world, a world cultivated by the Eternal King, can it be found. You finally came out of your lair. Wing God's veil. The corners of the Wing God monarch's mouth rose slightly, and he revealed a look of ecstasy. With a wave of his hand, a black veil engraved with countless mysterious runes flew out, radiated brilliant light, and swept towards the void. The queer veil opened, formed an independent world, and engulfed Yang Feng. A black ray flew out of the veil and swept towards the Wing God monarch and the other eternal world powerhouses, and they disappeared from this world. Ripples flickered, and Yang Feng found himself in a queer world. In this world, space crisscrossed like spatial blades. Any existence below the eternal realm will be instantly minced by spatial force once they enter this queer world. Even an eternal sovereign must consume eternal force at all times to resist the slashing of this queer world. Apart from the power of space, there was no other power in this world, and there was no way to replenish the power consumed. I am the Winged God King. You are Yang Feng from the eternal world, right? Distorted light flickered, and the Winged God monarch emerged from the void, looked coldly at Yang Feng, and uttered indifferently. The Dog God monarch, the Dragon God monarch, the Heaven Horse monarch, and the 50 eternal sovereigns appeared one by one and looked coldly at Yang Feng. This power could be said to be the strongest power in the dark earth world. Under the siege of so many experts, even the Winged God King would not be able to escape death. Yang Feng uttered with a faint smile, "Yes, did Demon Lord Xian tell you this?" The Winged God monarch's words were as sharp as knives. "Yang Feng, submit to us. As long as you hand over the knowledge and inheritance you possess, and work together with us for 100,000 years, we will be able to help you. We will return your freedom. Otherwise, today will be the day you die." For Yang Feng to be able to contend against the Spirit Eye monarch in such a short period of time, he must have an extremely fearsome secret method. "You want me to submit to you? You're overestimating yourself." With a faint smile, Yang Feng's body twisted, and he teleported behind a Dragon God Eternal Sovereign. Then, with a claw, he easily ran through the other party, and a Devour rune emerged and devoured the other party in an instant. "Kill him!" With a flash of anger in his eyes, the Dragon Divine Monarch suddenly erupted, extended his claws, and, as if a humanoid eternal true dragon in a berserk state, frantically attacked Yang Feng. Yang Feng slammed his palm into the Dragon God Monarch's claws, and then retreated briskly with the force of the Dragon God Monarch's attack. Then, with a strange flash, he appeared in front of a Dragon God Eternal Sovereign, smashed the other party with a claw, and devoured him. A sinister look flashed on the Dog God Monarch's face, and his upper body transformed into a furry dog. His strength and speed doubled, and he turned into a yellow ray of light. As if teleporting, he appeared in front of Yang Feng and sent a claw barreling towards Yang Feng. The Winged God Monarch's eyes flickered fiercely, and he pointed with a finger, and countless feathers formed a Winged God blade that can slay eternal sovereigns and slash towards Yang Feng. Countless mysterious runes appeared on Heavenly Horse God Monarch's body. Sacred spirit runes appeared in the void, sealing the void, making it difficult for people to move in the void. The other eternal sovereigns joined forces to unleash offensive secret methods and attacked Yang Feng. This attack is really troublesome. A dignified look in his eyes, Yang Feng smiled coldly, countless mysterious runes appeared on him, and he turned into a devour black hole that can devour everything. When the attacks of the dozens of eternal sovereigns slammed into the devour black hole, all their power was devoured. However, the devour black hole also fell into an unstable state. When the Dog God Monarch's claw slammed into the devour black hole, a fearsome force erupted, and the devour black hole exploded in an instant. The fearsome explosion seriously injured the Dog God Monarch, and his right claw shattered. Yang Feng was also blasted into by the fearsome explosion, and countless cracks appeared on his body. At this moment, the Winged God Monarch's Winged God blade slashed into Yang Feng's right arm and cut off his right arm. A large amount of blood gushed out of Yang Feng's body and sprinkled into the sky. Seeing this scene, the eyes of the Dark Earth World's eternal sovereigns shimmered with fear. That was the joint attack of dozens of eternal sovereigns and 3 eternal sovereigns, yet they only seriously injured Yang Feng, not killed him. This is simply appalling. Yang Feng smiled coldly. Sure enough, with my current strength, it is still somewhat difficult to contend against the Dark Earth World's eternal sovereigns. It's a pity that I've never fought alone. At this moment, the whip of the ruler, like a poisonous dragon, pierced through the heart of the Pegasus Divine Monarch, who is activating a seal barrier, and then pierced the Dog God Monarch's heart in an instant. Zero walked out of the void, swept up the 2 eternal sovereigns with the whip of the ruler, devoured them, and sealed them behind her. Spatial ripples flickered, and 10,000 eternal sovereign rank judgment lords as well as countless Empyrean and holy rank adjudicators flew out and attacked the Dark Earth World's eternal sovereigns. A bunch of ants shatter. A Pegasus eternal sovereign snorted coldly and flapped his wings, and a fearsome storm revolved around him. Whether it is the Empyrean or holy rank adjudicators, as soon as they entered the scope of the storm, they were all twisted into pieces and turned into powder. Even their core chips were crushed. The Eternal Sovereigns unleashed various secret methods and destroyed the adjudicators and judgment lords as if they were ants. Attack Yang Feng. Don't give him a chance to breathe. The Wing God Monarch barked and urged the Wing God Blade to slash at Yang Feng. In the wake of the Wing God Blade, the void collapsed, and the adjudicators and judgment lords in its way collapsed and turned into particles. It's a pity that you missed the only chance to defeat me. Yang Feng smiled coldly. His badly injured body healed in an instant, and he extended a hand shrouded in gloomy black light and grabbed the Wing God Blade. Gloomy black light intertwined with the lustrous light released by the Winged God Blade, and then condensed. The Winged God Blade collapsed in an instant, and a terrifying blade scar was left on Yang Feng's right hand, exposing crystal-clear bones. Wing God Monarch, you're really amazing. My fleshly body is infinitely close to the Eternal Monarch rank, yet you were able to injure me. You deserve a reward. How about this? I'll reward you with the death of 3 winged Eternal Sovereigns. With a faint smile, Yang Feng blurred into motion, and 3 afterimages appeared in front of the 3 winged Eternal Titans. Then, with a claw, he smashed the 3 winged Eternal Titans' barriers and stabbed them into their bodies. With a flash of devour light, the 3 winged Eternal Sovereigns were devoured. At that moment, Zero wielded the whip of the ruler like a poisonous dragon, easily piercing through the body of an eternal giant of the Dragon God clan, directly suppressing and sealing that eternal giant of the Dragon God clan, devouring his power. Join forces. To kill Yang Feng, we have to kill him. Only then can we have a chance at survival. The Wing God Monarch looked at the elusive Yang Feng, fear welled up inside him, and he roared. At the same time, he frantically urged the Wing God Blade to slash at Yang Feng. It's no use. You're all doomed to die here. Yang Feng extended a hand and crushed the Wing God Blade. 3 afterimages appeared in front of the 3 Pegasus Eternal Sovereigns again, crushed them, and devoured them. The Eternal Sovereigns in the space fell into a frenzy. Ignoring the Judgment Lords and Adjudicators, they cast offensive secret methods barreling towards Yang Feng. It's too late. It's too late for you to wake up. Yang Feng smiled faintly. As if a shadow, wherever he passed, he tore apart and devoured one eternal world powerhouse after another. Yang Feng evaded most of the attacks of the Eternal Sovereigns. As for the attacks that he couldn't evade, they were blocked by Yang Feng's fearsome fleshly body. All the injuries healed at a despairing speed. Chapter 1553. With a decisive look in his eyes, the Wing God Monarch roared, "Dragon God Monarch, entangle that woman. I'll kill Yang Feng." But, eyes flashing fiercely, the Dragon God Monarch burned his true dragon bloodline. True dragon chi revolved around him, and he turned into a humanoid true dragon that attacked Zero. One after another, the eternal true dragons flew about, biting and tearing at the whips in a frenzy. They tore the whips apart and wrapped themselves around Zero. In the name of the Wing God Monarch. Burn. Your origin. Countless mysterious runes appeared in the eyes of the Wing God Monarch, and a mark containing the Wing God Monarch's origin appeared on his forehead and released fearsome fluctuations of power. Stop! Your Majesty the God Monarch! A look of horror on their faces, the winged eternal powerhouses screamed, and involuntarily burned their eternal origin and turned into rays of light that entered the winged God Monarch. The Winged God Monarch pointed with a finger, and an extraordinary life-form eagle rock behemoth with a wingspan of 100,000 kilometers and 10 pairs of wings appeared. The eagle rock behemoth is the origin of the Winged God Monarch's bloodline. At the time, it was one of the peerless fierce beasts in the dark earth world. It devoured 10 eternal sovereigns every day. Who knows how many powerhouses went to challenge it, only to be eaten by it. If it wasn't for the fact that no powerhouse can obtain true eternity in the dark earth world, the Eagle Rock Behemoth would have lived to this day and become an invincible overlord. The Eagle Rock Behemoth flapped its wings, and a spatial storm suddenly formed. Swept by the spatial storm, the adjudicators below the Eternal Sovereign rank were crushed to pieces. The remaining 5,000 Eternal Sovereign rank adjudicators could only activate a defensive barrier and barely resist the spatial storm. With a single strike, any existence below the Eternal Sovereign rank can be destroyed. This is the terror of the Eagle Rock Behemoth. The Eagle Rock Behemoth flapped its wings again, turned into a stream of light, and rushed towards Yang Feng. This behemoth is in trouble. A dignified look in his eyes, Yang Feng's figure moved slightly, and he wanted to evade the Eagle Rock Behemoth. Obstructive forces came from the void, making it impossible for people to budge. As strong as Yang Feng was, he was still like an insect stuck in a spider's web. With every breath of time, he could barely move 100 kilometers. Traversing 100 kilometers in a breath of time was already an unimaginable speed for ordinary people. But when the Hawkrock Behemoth flapped its wings, its speed reached several light years. Virtually in an instant, it appeared in front of Yang Feng, and its huge eagle claws tore through the sky and clawed at Yang Feng. A fierce ray flashed in Yang Feng's eyes, then dark light flickered on his body, and he spread the fingers of his right hand, and a Devour rune appeared, and black light of Devour swept out and swallowed the Eagle Rock Behemoth. Explode! The Wing God King's eyes were cold as he said coldly, "Rumble." Yang Feng's body trembled slightly, and then he exploded, and a fearsome explosion enveloped him and formed a hole in the void that was nearly impossible to heal. Almost at the same time, Zero's 12 ruler apostles appeared, burned their origin force frantically, and turned into 12 beams that blasted into the Wing God King in an instant. The Wing God King forcibly burned the eternal origin of the 12 winged eternal tycoons. Coupled with the fearsome force he endured, he was seriously injured. Now that he was attacked by the 12 ruler apostles, his body was pierced through, and his origin was seriously injured. Amazing! Wing God King, so this is the underlying strength of your winged race? It's really amazing. You're just one step away from killing me. What a pity! A cold voice came from the black hole in the void, and Yang Feng, who only has an incomplete white jade bone left, walked out of the black hole. A copious amount of eternal origin transformed into black light that entered the incomplete white jade bone and healed it quickly. The Wing God King looked at Yang Feng, who healed himself quickly and barked, "What are you waiting for? Hurry up and kill him." Yang Feng, how dare you kill my patriarch? I won't rest until you're dead. Yang Feng, let's die together. The eyes of the 8 eternal tycoons shimmered fiercely, and they began to burn their eternal origin frantically. 8 beams of eternal light capable of destroying everything pierced through the sky and barreled towards Yang Feng. In an instant, they slammed into Yang Feng and blasted him into pieces, and then he turned into powder and disappeared. With a flash of an afterimage, Yang Feng, who only has a skeleton left, appeared in front of an eternal tycoon, smashed his barrier with a claw, stabbed into his body, and devoured his eternal origin. When the Wing God King saw this scene, he inhaled a breath of cold air, and his eyes shimmered with incredulity. That's an afterimage. Shadow clone. How can there be such a similar shadow clone? Although the eternal tycoons in the Dark Earth world are much weaker than in the eternal world, but they are still fearsome existences at the pinnacle of the universe. It is almost impossible for them not to distinguish the difference between a true body and a shadow clone. For Yang Feng to use a shadow clone to deceive the 8 eternal tycoons into using a life-risking strike is simply shocking. With a roar of engines, the remaining 5,000 Judgment Lords frantically attacked the remaining eternal tycoons. With a casual strike, the eternal tycoons can blast a dozen-plus Judgment Lords into pieces. However, the Judgment Lords are still holding the eternal tycoons back. Yang Feng shuttled back and forth among the eternal tycoons. Every time he appeared, he insta-killed an eternal tycoon. Eternal origin poured into Yang Feng's limbs and bones, and his bones began to heal at a rapid pace. The cracks on the white jade bones are also disappearing rapidly. A bunch of trash. A fierce ray flashed in the Wing God King's eyes, and he flapped his wings and flew towards Yang Feng, leaving behind an afterimage. Yang Feng's speed is already far faster than that of ordinary eternal tycoons. But the Wing God King is even faster than Yang Feng. As if teleporting, he appeared in front of Yang Feng and waved his hand. A black sword ray slashed towards Yang Feng. Wing God King. Unfortunately, you're a step too slow. The eyes of Yang Feng, who only has the white jade bones remaining, flickered with dark light and a cold gaze, and he sent a fist flying. Countless runes flickered and slammed it into the black sword ray. Boom! The black sword ray was shattered by Yang Feng's strike, and Yang Feng's fist smashed the Wing God King's barrier and pierced through his body. How is this possible? How can this be? You're clearly seriously injured, so how can you still have such terrifying power? With a flash of despair and unwillingness in his eyes, the Wing God King roared at the top of his lungs. Yang Feng smiled indifferently, and a devour black hole emerged and devoured the Wing God King. A tremendous amount of eternal origin poured into Yang Feng's body from the devour black hole. Black light shone, and a copious amount of flesh squirmed on the white jade bones. In an instant, Yang Feng's fleshly body was perfectly constructed. The potential of this fleshly body is really endless. Unfortunately, it's still far from being comparable to a true divine emperor bone. However, it's enough to kill these aboriginals of the Dark Earth world. With a faint smile, Yang Feng's gaze fell on the Dragon God Monarch. He appeared behind the Dragon God Monarch with a teleport, and then punched the Dragon God Monarch. How is this possible? How can this be? With a flash of incredulity in his eyes, the Dragon God King struggled desperately, and true dragon chi surged inside him. The Sovereign's whip descended from the sky and slammed into the Dragon God King's head, shattering his skull and shattering his true dragon energy. A devour mark appeared, black light flashed, and the Dragon God King was devoured by Yang Feng. The eyes of a Pegasus eternal giant shimmered with fear, and he shouted, "Sir Yang Feng, I am willing to submit to you. Please be lenient and spare my life." A dog eternal giant pleaded bitterly, "Sir Yang Feng, I am also willing to submit to you and serve you. Please spare my life." "Shut up, you traitors! Sir Patriarch has already died at the hands of this villain, yet you are wagging your tails and begging him. Don't you feel ashamed?" Among the remaining eternal powerhouses, several eternal powerhouses scolded sternly. "If you don't want to surrender, then go to hell." With a flash of an afterimage, Yang Feng appeared behind an eternal giant, smashed the defenses of the eternal giant with a punch, ran through the eternal giant, and then, with a flash of black light, engulfed the eternal giant. A whip of the ruler slammed into an eternal giant by Zero's whip, and his body was torn apart. The whip of the ruler swept him and engulfed him. Following a series of afterimages, the eternal giants who tried to resist were killed by Yang Feng and Zero. After dozens of breaths of time, the black curtain that shrouded the void disappeared. Yang Feng appeared in the void, followed by 6 eternal world bigwigs. On the battlefield, countless eyes are focused on the void. Everyone knows that the war that will decide the fate of the Dark Earth world depends on the war between eternal giants. A dragon god powerhouse shrouded in nether demonic light stepped forward and said coldly, I am Long Ming. From today on, I am the new patriarch of the dragon god race. From today on, my dragon god race is a subsidiary race subordinated to the mighty Lord Linghua. Pass down my order. Dragon god warriors, attack the traitors of the winged god race at once. His Majesty Linghua is eternal. His Majesty Linghua is eternal. In the Spirit Light City, earth-shaking cheers came. All the Spirit Eye powerhouses understand that they have won this war. Chapter 1554. The Hound God Clan and Heavenly Horse God Clan's Eternal Realm experts spoke up one after another. The two clans immediately turned around and attacked the Winged God Clan. In the blink of an eye, the Winged God Clan was besieged by the four God Clans. They collapsed and fled in all directions. Yang Feng turned into countless afterimages and chased after the winged eternal sovereigns. One after another, he devoured eternal sovereigns and turned them into nourishment for his evolution. Except for the winged god race's eternal titans guarding the headquarters, the rest were all captured by Yang Feng. With the might of a great victory, Yang Feng swept his way and destroyed the forces occupied by the winged god race one by one. A month later, Yang Feng easily destroyed the winged god race's headquarters. The Winged God Clan's eternal leader led the remaining elites of the Winged God Clan and fled. After the Winged God race's headquarters was captured, under Yang Feng's order, the four races swept through the Winged God race's forces and killed all the Winged God race's powerhouses. A year later, the Winged God Clan that had once dominated the Darkland world had been annihilated, and only a few slaves remained. They were no longer the number one clan in the world. Under Yang Feng's command, the Spirit Eye race became the number one god race in the Darkland. All kinds of precious resources were delivered to the Spiritual Light City and became Yang Feng's cultivation resources. After lying dormant for 3 years, Yang Feng emerged from the God King Pagoda and commanded the four race armies to attack the barbarian wolf Celestial. The allied forces of the four god clans easily broke through layer after layer of the barbarian wolf Celestial tribe's resistance and finally arrived at the foot of the barbarian wolf Celestial tribe's sacred mountain. God King Barbarian Wolf. His Majesty, the Spiritual Eye King, is leading the army personally. Why aren't you kneeling down and surrendering? Do you want to see your barbarian wolf Celestial race get annihilated? Ming Long, the eternal giant of the Dragon God clan, said coldly as he looked at the barbarian wolf sacred mountain that was 100,000 meters high like a giant sword piercing into the sky. Gold light shone, and a burly man covered in gold hair appeared above the barbarian wolf sacred mountain. Fluctuations of power, which far exceed that of an eternal lord rank powerhouse, slowly spread from him. Long Ming, Linghua's lackey, doesn't have the qualifications to speak to me. Linghua, come out. Barbarian Wolf glanced at Long Ming with disdain in his eyes as he spoke coldly. A wisp of rage flashed through Long Ming's eyes, yet he gritted his teeth and remained silent. In fact, the dragon gods have become Yang Feng's vassals. In fact, Ming Long is like Yang Feng's servant. He can't refute the barbarian wolf god's words on this occasion. Speak. There was a flash of light, and 8 winged monarch-rank beauties carrying a luxurious litter appeared. There is a person sitting in the litter, it is Yang Feng. He sat on the carriage and looked at God King Barbarian Wolf. The barbarian wolf god monarch stared at Yang Feng and uttered coldly, Linghua, my barbarian wolf god race and your spirit eye race mind our own business. Back then, when the winged god race and the other 3 great races joined forces to attack the spirit eye race, our barbarian wolf celestial race did not kick them while they were down. Why did you bring your troops to attack our barbarian wolf god tribe? Back then, your barbarian wolf celestial clan didn't ally with the 4 celestial clans because you wanted to see both sides suffer. As for the reason why I brought my troops to attack your barbarian wolf god race, it is naturally to unify the dark earth world and become its master. Barbarian wolf god monarch, if you submit to me, then you and your barbarian wolf god race can live. Otherwise, you will suffer the same fate as the winged god race tomorrow. Yang Feng spoke frigidly, a cold look in his eyes. Furious, the barbarian wolf god monarch said with a smile, "Very well. Let's see if you have the ability to break through our barbarian wolf's sacred mountain. As long as I kill you, the barbarian wolf's sacred mountain will collapse by itself." A voice sounded in the void. The entire barbarian wolf's sacred mountain shone brightly, and countless mysterious rays of light flew out from the barbarian wolf's sacred mountain and formed a smoke-like silver barrier. Boom! When Yang Feng slammed into the silver barrier in an instant, he looked like a bug trapped in amber. Surprise flashed in Yang Feng's eyes, and he uttered with a smile, "Interesting, the defensive barrier of the barbarian wolf's sacred mountain was activated by itself. How tyrannical. Linghua, you're really stupid. To dare to assassinate me alone. How foolish. Die." The barbarian wolf god monarch was taken aback, and then overjoyed. With a roar, he turned into a 10,000-meter-long gold wolf and extended his claws towards Yang Feng. On the barbarian wolf's sacred mountain, countless mysterious rays shone, and golden rays enveloped Yang Feng and boosted the seal of the barrier. "You're the stupid one. Barbarian wolf god monarch." The corners of Yang Feng's mouth rose slightly, revealing a look of ridicule. Black light shone from him, and the seal barrier around him shattered. Boom! A loud noise came from the barbarian wolf's sacred mountain, and fearsome cracks appeared on the barbarian wolf's sacred mountain. Yang Feng spread the fingers of a hand, and a mysterious devour rune appeared and swept towards the barbarian wolf god monarch, exuding black light. The black devour light swept the barbarian wolf god monarch into it. Impossible! How could this be? Even if I lose the winged god monarch, it's impossible to suppress me in the barbarian wolf's sacred mountain. How could this be? How could this be? The barbarian wolf god monarch struggled frantically in the devour black hole, his eyes flashing with fear. He never expected that he would be suppressed by Yang Feng so easily. "I surrender, I am willing to surrender. Your Majesty Linghua, spare my life. I don't want to die. I don't want to die." Struggling in the devour black hole, the barbarian wolf god monarch screamed in horror and pleaded frantically. "It's too late to beg for mercy. If you don't die, how can I get more eternal origin force?" With a flash of ridicule in his eyes, Yang Feng willed, and the devour black hole shone brightly. Within a few breaths of time, all the power of the barbarian wolf god monarch was devoured and turned into ashes. Long Ming looked at Yang Feng's back with fear in his eyes. "My lord is getting scarier and scarier." He easily suppressed the barbarian wolf god monarch in the barbarian wolf sacred mountain. "In this world, no one is my lord's opponent. Kill." After killing the barbarian wolf god monarch, Yang Feng ordered coldly. Countless armies immediately began to besiege the city. Yang Feng broke into the barbarian wolf's sacred mountain, devoured the eternal sovereigns in the mountain, and then hunted the eternal sovereigns of the barbarian wolf god race. In less than a day, the barbarian wolf sacred mountain was razed to the ground, and the barbarian wolf god race was reduced from a top race in the dark earth world to an inferior slave race without the protection of an eternal sovereign. After this battle, the entire dark earth world was shaken. The remaining powerful races in the dark earth world sent emissaries to the Spirit Light City to submit to Yang Feng. Yang Feng continued to command the army to attack the powerful races that were unwilling to surrender. After destroying 7 top races in the Dark Earth world in a row, he stopped his offensive. The top races originally wanted to bargain with Yang Feng. But when they saw that the 7 top races in the Dark Earth world were destroyed by Yang Feng without hesitation and reduced to slaves, a chill welled up in their hearts, and they agreed to a series of harsh conditions put forward by Yang Feng. A few months later, virtually all the major races in the Dark Earth world announced that they have joined the Spirit Eye Empire and become Yang Feng subjects. All kinds of precious cultivation resources were transported to the Spirit Light City. After Yang Feng unified the Spirit Eye Empire, he plunged into the God King Pagoda and entered closed-door cultivation. Time elapsed, and 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. Inside the God King Pagoda, a vast and boundless aura seeped out of Yang Feng. His Majesty has broken through. the ninth heaven eternal realm. But how can his aura be so terrifying? Ling Wuheng, who is dealing with government affairs, suddenly looked up, trembled, and his eyes flashed with shock. He can clearly feel the fear coming from his body. If he were to face Yang Feng, he might not even be able to exert 70% of his strength. Long Ming was also stunned, and his eyes flashed with shock. What a terrifying aura! This aura, could it be the legendary Eternal King? His Majesty Ling Hua has broken through again. How terrifying! No one in the Dark Earth world is his opponent, but now he has broken through again. Within the spiritual light city, when the eternal giants subdued by Yang Feng sensed the terrifying aura, their faces turned pale and they trembled. Originally, these eternal giants had the idea of joining forces to create some trouble for Yang Feng. But after sensing Yang Feng's aura, no one dared to be his enemy anymore. So this is an eternal king rank fleshly body. It's really powerful. No wonder eternal kings are invincible no matter what universe and environment they descend to. In the God King Pagoda, Yang Feng opened his eyes and sensed the terrifying power coming from his body, and the corners of his mouth rose into a smile. Yang Feng consumed almost all the precious resources in the Dark Earth world and devoured many eternal sovereigns before finally breaking through, advancing to an eternal giant, and forming an eternal king rank fleshly body. The strength of my fleshly body is a notch higher than that of the Duro monarch. However, since the Duro monarch has died, the vitality and strength of his fleshly body are far from comparable to when he was at his peak. I wonder how strong an eternal king is. An enigmatic ray flashed in Yang Feng's eyes, and a fierce flame ignited. At this time, Yang Feng's fleshly body is already comparable to that of an eternal king, only lacking his soul. If his soul could undergo another transformation, he would become a true eternal king. He would be invincible, eternally indestructible. No matter which universe he went to, he would be able to easily suppress the Eternals of that universe and become a king amongst Eternals. Chapter 1555. My lord, I'm very ashamed. I don't know what treasure that Ling Juekong obtained, but he escaped from me. A black token in Yang Feng's right hand flashed, and Long Ming's projection appeared in the void and said with an ashamed expression, "Ever since Yang Feng became the Spirit Eye Monarch, Ling Juekong knew that something was amiss and fled from the Spirit Light City to other races. At the time, Yang Feng was bent on forming an eternal monarch rank god body, so he didn't take Ling Juekong seriously. After Yang Feng unified the Dark Earth world, the world was at peace, and there were countless eternal bigwigs who wanted to make contributions. Long Ming chose the task of hunting down Ling Juekong. Ling Juekong was worthy of being the son of destiny of the Darkland world. Under the pursuit of Ming Long, an eternal giant, his potential was completely stimulated. He had many fortuitous encounters, and his strength advanced by leaps and bounds. Now, he had advanced to the sixth heaven of the eternal realm. In less than 10 years, he advanced to the sixth firmament eternal realm from a first firmament eternal realm eternal realm eternal realm. This speed of advancement is even faster than when I was at the time. Unfortunately, the Dark Earth world is not an eternal world after all. The Eternals of this world are pseudo-eternal. They have eternal force, but don't have eternal lifespan. In the end, cultivation is futile. Since I have nothing to do, let me see how strong this world's destiny child is. 0. Look for traces of Ling Juekong. Yang Feng smiled faintly and ordered, "Master." Zero's projection appeared in the void, smiled sweetly at Yang Feng, and then disappeared. The Dark Earth world's Myriad Despair Valley is a fearsome place in the Dark Earth world. Reportedly, the Myriad Despair Valley is a place where the god of creation, the god of Dark Earth, and his mortal enemy, the god of Wither, both died. The Valley of Myriad Despair was enveloped by layers of extremely strange gray mist all year round. Once an ordinary eternal profounder entered the gray mist, their vitality would be completely extracted, and they would transform into dried corpses before finally transforming into dust. Even if it is an eternal bigwig, if they stay in the Myriad Despair Valley all year round, their soul will be corroded, their origin will wither, and they will turn into dust. In the Darklands, there was once a Holy Lord-level character that entered Myriad Despair Valley in an attempt to break through the shackles of their cultivation and take another step forward. But because they stayed for too long, their soul was corroded and their source withered. After they were forced to leave Myriad Despair Valley, they turned into a pile of bones in less than 100 years. The Valley of 10,000 Despair was so dangerous. Although there were some extremely precious treasures inside, the harvest was not proportional to the expenditure. As time passed, no one would come here. In a cave at the edge of the Valley of 10,000 Despair, there was a clear and powerful barrier. Mu, it's been hard on you. Ling Juekong's entire body was riddled with scars, and he was vomiting a large mouthful of blood. He leaned against the mountain wall, and it seemed as if he was using all of his strength to utter a single word. Brother Jukong, we've already escaped from the Spirit Eye Empire, why won't they let us go? Mu Yu's eyes were filled with tears as she knelt in front of Ling Juekong. She pointed a finger at Ling Juekong, and a green healing light shone on his body. True dragon aura emerged from Ling Juekong, and as soon as the green healing light touched the true dragon aura, it was devoured by the true dragon aura. Ling Juekong spat out a mouthful of blood and said with a bitter smile, Ling Hua has become the master of the Dark Earth world. At the time, who knows how many Eternal World's bigwigs were killed by him. Naturally, the Eternal World's bigwigs who surrendered were worried that he would get rid of them after they had outlived their usefulness, so they could only look for opportunities to express their loyalty. Even if Ling Hua doesn't want to kill us, his subordinates will come after us. At the beginning, Ling Juekong looked down on the silk pants Ling Hua. He thought that after he had a fortuitous encounter, he could defy the heavens and eventually reach the top. Unfortunately, the reality gave him a heavy blow. That's right. Ling Juekong, it seems that you've become smarter after all these years. Following a chuckle, Yang Feng stepped through the cave's barrier and appeared inside the cave. Ling Hua. As soon as Ling Juekong saw Yang Feng, his face fell. Countless mysterious runes appeared on his body, and blue spatial fluctuations emerged and swept towards Ling Juekong and Miue. Spatial teleportation? One of my core essences is the essence of space. The corners of Yang Feng's mouth rose slightly, and he pointed with a finger, and the blue spatial fluctuations disappeared. Ling Hua, please let Big Brother Juekong go. As long as you let Big Brother Juekong go, I'm willing to be your slave and serve you for the rest of my life. No matter what you want me to do, I'm willing to do it. There was a flash of misery in Miue's beautiful eyes, and tears streamed down her face. She knelt in front of Ling Juekong and begged bitterly. Yang Feng uttered with a faint smile, what a deep sentiment. Ling Juekong, you really met a good woman. Ling Juekong stared at Yang Feng and said unhurriedly, Your Majesty Ling Hua, you are already the Emperor of the Spirit Eye Empire and the Master of the Dark Earth world. Can you be merciful and let us go? Yang Feng replied indifferently, I can. Ling Juekong, hand over your fortuitous encounter. I can let you and Miue live and confer you the title of an aristocrat. Ling Juekong hesitated for a while and then asked, Ling Hua, I once knocked you off a cliff. Don't you hate me? Yang Feng smiled indifferently. Ripples flickered on his body, and he restored his true body's appearance. I'm not Ling Hua, so why would I hate you? It's just that you blocked my way at the time, so I kicked you aside. Ling Juekong's eyes shimmered with enigmatic light, and he uttered, You are Yang Feng from the Eternal World. In the Spirit Eye Empire, there are countless rumors. One of them is that the Spirit Eye Wang Ling Hua is the peerless powerhouse Yang Feng from the Eternal World. Even though the powerhouses of the Spirit Eye race and other major races have some speculations, but no one dares to find out the truth. Even if Ling Hua is proven to be Yang Feng from the Eternal World, no one dares to resist this peerless powerhouse. Yang Feng replied indifferently, That's right. Since you are Yang Feng, then I can offer you this treasure. Ling Juekong hesitated for a while. Then, looking at Yang Feng's burning gaze, he smiled bitterly and sighed faintly. He spread the fingers of a hand, and a leg bone containing crystal white light strangely appeared on his chest. The bone of the God Emperor. I can wear out iron shoes in fruitless searching, only to find it by chance. When Yang Feng saw the scene, his eyes shimmered with a scorching shade, and he smiled heartily and grabbed the bone of the God Emperor. Ling Juekong, you have made a great contribution. I will confer upon you the title of Duke. Your fief will be the Gold Wolf Realm. Yang Feng sensed the terrifying power contained in the bone of the God Emperor, smiled heartily, and said loudly, "Thank you, Your Majesty." With a flash of joy in his eyes, Ling Juekong and Muyuan knelt on the ground and uttered respectfully, "With Yang Feng's title, Ling Juekong will be able to live under the sun, become a greater aristocrat, and be revered by people. He won't have to be chased everywhere like a stray dog, living in constant fear of dying miserably." Suddenly, a fearsome malice rose from the Valley of Myriad Despair, and a gray light of extinction extended from the Valley of Myriad Despair and swept towards Yang Feng. This is the remnant will of the Dark Earth Monarch. Ling Juekong is the child of fate of the Dark Earth world and the resurrection vessel chosen by the Dark Earth Monarch. That's why he had so many fortuitous encounters, and even obtained the most precious treasure of the Dark Earth Monarch. Now that the bone of the God Emperor has fallen into my hands, it's impossible for the Dark Earth Monarch to resurrect. This is the end of the world, the destruction of everything. The Dark Earth Monarch is really stingy. When Yang Feng saw the gray light of extinction, he frowned slightly, streams of data flashed in his eyes, and he vaguely guessed the truth of the matter. Yang Feng waved his hands, and a spatial gate opened, and a clear light swept Ling Juekong inside. He stepped inside, crossed 10,000 kilometers, and appeared in the Flower God Valley. At this time, in the Flower God Valley, the ground is shaking, the earth is cracking, and magma is erupting. It's a scene of the end of the world. The Flower God Patriarch and the eternal sovereigns in the Flower God Valley are desperately casting spells to suppress the magma eruption. Yang Feng said lightly, "Hua Yin, this world has begun to be destroyed. Do you want to go with me, or stay here? I want to leave this world of destruction. I'll give you 5 seconds to think about it." 5. Shock flashed in Hua Yin's beautiful eyes, and she exclaimed, "The world is going to be destroyed? What the hell happened?" Yang Feng didn't answer, only quietly counting down. There was a flash of struggle in Hua Yin's beautiful eyes, and she said decisively, "Okay. I'll go with you. The Flower God race will go with you. You're smart." Yang Feng smiled indifferently and waved his hand, and a ray of light swept towards the Flower God Eternal Sovereigns and swept them away. A spatial gate opened again, and Yang Feng took a step and appeared in the Spirit Light City. Standing at the top of the Imperial Palace, Yang Feng said indifferently, "I am Yang Feng. The world is about to be destroyed. Those who are willing to be my servants can come to the Imperial Palace. Those who are unwilling can look for a way to survive on their own. I'll give you 10 seconds to think about it." 10. With a flash of light, Ling Wuheng appeared beside Yang Feng, looked at him with a complicated expression, and asked slowly, "Yang Feng, are you His Majesty Ling Hua?" Yang Feng replied indifferently, "Yes." Ling Wuheng continued to ask, "What happened to this world?" The eyes of the eternal sovereigns locked on Yang Feng, full of curiosity. 8. Yang Feng didn't answer, but counted down indifferently. "Lord, the Dragon God race is willing to follow Lord and serve Lord." Long Ming's figure flickered, and he appeared in front of Yang Feng, knelt on one knee, and uttered respectfully, In the entire Dark Earth world, only you, Long Ming, and Hua Yin managed to grasp the last chance to survive. I'll save your life." Laughing heartily, Yang Feng pointed with a finger, and light enveloped Ming Long and sealed him in a transparent sphere. Chapter 1556. A grayish light extended towards them. Wherever the grayish light passed, mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. Lava gushed out, and all living beings were annihilated and turned into nothingness. Almost in an instant, the gray ray extended to in front of the Spiritual Light City and collided with the defensive barrier of the Spiritual Light City. The defensive barrier of the spiritual light city trembled slightly, was eroded by the gray ray, and then collapsed and shattered. The gray light rushed into the spiritual light city and brushed past the residents of the city. The residents who were hit by the gray light screamed and turned into dust that drifted away with the wind. Within the spiritual light city, barriers opened one after another. The dusky light swept towards the boundaries, and they crumbled one by one. Everything inside turned into dust. Within the spiritual light city, countless powerhouses also opened barriers in an attempt to resist the erosion of the gray ray. But when the gray ray swept the powerhouses, they turned into dust. They couldn't resist the gray ray at all. Even eternal sovereign rank powerhouses couldn't resist the gray ray. When an eternal sovereign rank powerhouse who opened a barrier was swept by the gray ray, it was eroded at a speed visible to the naked eye. Your Majesty, save me. I'm willing to be your slave, please save me. When Ling Wuheng saw this scene, a hair-raising premonition of danger welled up inside him. While maintaining a powerful barrier, he knelt before Yang Feng and begged bitterly. Your Majesty, I'm willing to be your slave, save me. Save my people. Your Majesty. The pleading voices of eternal sovereigns came from the spiritual light city one after another. Yang Feng responded coldly with an indifferent look in his eyes. It's too late. Under the scour of the gray ray, the barriers of the eternal sovereigns collapsed one after another. They screamed miserably and turned into dust that scattered with the wind. When Long Ming saw this scene, his heart chilled, and then he rejoiced. Is this the Great Tribulation? How could this be? Fortunately, I reacted quickly and submitted to your Majesty. Hua Yin was also quietly watching this scene from within a ceiling barrier. She was filled with joy. My choice was correct. After the endless gray light scoured the spiritual light city, it swept towards Yang Feng. Yang Feng pointed with a finger, and Ming Long and Hua Yin were taken into his inner world. The endless gray light scoured Yang Feng's fleshly body, yet nothing happened, as if it was just ordinary light. Not even the end of the world can do anything to the Eternal King's body. Even if a universe collapses, it won't be able to hurt me. Laughing heartily, Yang Feng shuttled freely in the endless gray light. As if it had its own will, the gray light frantically swept towards Yang Feng again and again. Yet like a cool breeze, it couldn't even cause a trace of harm to Yang Feng's fleshly body. The world will be destroyed. It also contained endless vitality. Dark Earth King, you destroyed the world in order to absorb the life and power of all the intelligent beings in the world to be reborn. If it weren't for me and the Purple Origin Demon Lord, perhaps tens of millions of years later, you really might have been reborn. It's a pity that everything you've accumulated will become nutrients for my evolution. Countless mysterious runes appeared in Yang Feng's eyes, and two golden beams pierced through the sky and stabbed into the gray light. Originally, the gray light could erode all spells and annihilate all power, but in front of the two golden divine lights, it was forcibly twisted and separated. Found it. Yang Feng's eyes lit up, and he stepped into the gray light. After crossing who knows how much distance, Yang Feng appeared in front of a distorted space where light and darkness intertwined. Yang Feng glanced at the distorted space, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly. This is the essence of the Dark Earth world, the trump card of the Dark Earth King's rebirth. A stone statue abruptly emerged from nothingness and uttered coldly, I am the Dark Earth King. Human, submit to me and pledge your loyalty to me. As long as you serve me, I will show you how to advance to an eternal king. Waves of incomparably terrifying pressure emanated from the stone statue. Countless rays of gray light entered its body, causing its aura to rise steadily. Wisps of eternal king-level power emanated from its body. You are the Dark Earth King? How is that possible? He died a long time ago. You are just one of the trump cards he arranged for his rebirth. You are just an ordinary stone statue. Break for me. Yang Feng smiled coldly and extended his claw. Like a true dragon extending its claw to hunt its prey, the space in its wake cracked and distorted. How dare you offend my majesty, die. Enraged, the stone statue of the Dark Earth King spread the fingers of a hand, and black light of gravity appeared and swept towards Yang Feng. The essence of the Dark Earth King is gravity. At his peak, a casual strike of the Dark Earth King carries the essence of gravity. Once hit, one's body would bear the weight of countless stars, and the weight would continue to stack until even the Eternal King could not bear it. When the black light of gravity rolled, Yang Feng's body sank slightly, as if he is carrying countless stars. What an amazing essence! Unfortunately, you are not the Eternal King yet. Go to hell. With a frigid smile, Yang Feng's right hand distorted the void, slammed into the barrier of the Dark Earth Monarch's stone statue, and crushed the stone statue to pieces. A devour black hole appeared and devoured the stone statue. Now you're the only one left. After Yang Feng devoured the stone statue, he looked towards the distorted space. Without hesitation, he spread his right hand, and a devour rune appeared and devoured the distorted space. In an instant, a boundless amount of essence chi, origin energy of the Eternal King, and other forces poured into Yang Feng, nearly bursting his fleshly body. The corners of Yang Feng's mouth rose slightly. If I hadn't formed the Eternal King's fleshly body, I would have been blown up by this force. But now I can digest it and nourish my fleshly body and soul. This is the accumulation of the Dark Earth King's rebirth, but now it's all mine. When the distorted space was devoured by Yang Feng, the countless wisps of gray gas collapsed and disappeared. Yang Feng appeared in the place where the Dark Earth world originally existed. Yang Feng, you finally showed up. A voice full of joy came from the side. A nine-eyes void beast opened its maw and, exuding a breath of destruction, bit towards Yang Feng. The nine-eyes void beast is ferocious to the extreme. It can even devour a Holy Lord rank powerhouse in one bite. Burger stood quietly at the side with a cold smile on his face. I'm no longer the same as I was a few years ago. Yang Feng smiled indifferently and waved his hand, and a giant hand appeared and slapped the nine-eyes void beast. Boom! With an earth-shattering sound, the nine-eyed void beast's body was torn apart into countless pieces. A devouring black light appeared and smashed the ferocious nine-eyed void beast with a single slap. Burger's face stiffened, his smile froze, and his eyes flickered, and he turned into a stream of light and fled outside. How decisive! Unfortunately, you're too weak. Yang Feng smiled coldly and extended his hand, and a giant hand pierced through the sky and shot towards Burger. My lord, save me! With a look of horror on his face, Burger roared and crushed a black statue. Yang Feng, stop! A projection of the purple origin demon lord appeared in the void. With a cold look in his eyes, he extended a giant hand and barreled towards Yang Feng. A purple hand containing demonic chi and the faces of countless intelligent life forms tore through the sky and collided with Yang Feng's devour hand. Two supreme forces intertwined in the void, collapsed, and annihilated each other. The Purple Origin Demon Lord, as expected of the Purple Origin Demon Lord. One of the strongest invincible holy lords. Unfortunately, how can a mere avatar of yours block my true body? Smiling coldly, Yang Feng appeared in front of Burger with a teleport, and then punched out, smashing Burger's barrier and piercing through him. With a flash of black light, Burger was devoured by Yang Feng. It really isn't that simple to advance to the Eternal King realm. I have already devoured the essence of the Dark Earth world, but I still don't have enough foundation to advance to the Eternal King realm. No wonder there are so many supreme geniuses in the eternal world, yet the number of existences who can advance to the Eternal King realm can be counted on one hand. After Yang Feng devoured Burger, he felt that his cultivation base has only increased by a trace. Advancing to the Eternal King realm is still a long way off. A purple ray flew out of the void, landed in front of Yang Feng, and formed a projection of the Purple Origin Demon Lord. You devoured the Dark Earth world. Yang Feng, I underestimated you. Now you have the qualifications to be on the same level as us. The Purple Origin Demon Lord took a deep look at Yang Feng and said slowly. Prior to this, in the eyes of the Purple Origin Demon Lord, Yang Feng was just an ant that could be pinched to death at any time. But after devouring the Dark Earth world's origin, Yang Feng has promoted to an invincible Holy Lord rank powerhouse in one fell swoop. He is only a step away from the Eternal King realm, and he now has the qualifications to talk to the Purple Origin Demon Lord and other powerhouses. The Purple Origin Demon Lord said solemnly, "Yang Feng, there are inheritances of 4 Eternal Kings in the withered battlefield. One of the most powerful Eternal Kings was the Withering King. He can contend against 2 Wither Monarchs by himself. I obtained the Shatter Monarch's inheritance, you obtained the Dark Earth Monarch's inheritance, and the Primordial Darkness Lord obtained most of the Wither Monarch's inheritance. How about we form an alliance to deal with the Primordial Darkness Lord together?" You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.